Hello, my name is Jesse Saunders. I'm the Avella Media Production Department. I'm here with Jason Fogg, who is in his 19th season coaching the Avella baseball team. We wanted to catch up with him in advance of today's broadcast. Jason, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So who are some of your team leaders this season?
Fortunately, we're pretty fortunate to have quite a few. We're pretty much led by Bryce Wright, who does a nice job at shortstop and on the pitcher's mound. Braden Fuller, obviously behind the plate, and he also contributes on the mound. We have Noah Kimberlin out in center field. Chaz Rush, another carries a heavy load of the pitching for us and plays some left field. And Cam Olam playing a little pitcher in third base, and Tristan Davis a little first base for us and catches on occasion. So we're pretty fortunate to have a pretty good squad there for in terms of leadership and their abilities on the field.
What's been the team's biggest win so far this season?
Probably the Game 2 win against Jeanette. We had a rain delay there, canceled the game, and we were down 6-4. And when we picked the game back up, we scored 3 runs there to take the 7-6 victory, and a big sweep of Jeanette, which was a catalyst to get us our clinched playoff spot this early in the season. So pretty fortunate there.
Yeah, good stuff. With this new 3-game series model, how's your pitching held up?
Definitely presents a challenge pitching-wise, but I give credit to our pitchers. That to me, the pitching has been the strength of the team. I tell the team every day, the pitchers give us the they keep us in the ball game. As long as we hit, we'll win. So the pitching has so far up to this point, knocking some wood, has been fantastic.
And who's been some of your more consistent hitters this spring?
A lot of the same names, same faces. Bryce Wright has been doing well. Chaz Rush, I think he's second on the team in batting average, and Noah Kimberlin has had a very nice season despite the shoulder injuries. So pretty fortunate there.
Okay. So a big game against Carmichaels today. What are some keys to beating this team in Game 1 of the series?
I think we're going to have to make their pitchers work. Their pitchers can have some control issues at times, so we have to make their pitchers work. And Carmichaels plays a lot of small ball, so it's imperative that we get outs when they bunt the ball. If we get an out every time they bunt, we're doing some good stuff and we're limiting them offensively. If not, it might be a long day for the Eagles.
So what is the playoff scenario? What position are you in if you beat Carmichaels today and tomorrow versus maybe a split or lose both games?
I think that if we split we split Carmichaels, I think we can have as high as a 5 seed. If we lose to Carmichaels, if we get swept by Carmichaels, we would be definitely bottom of the barrel in terms of seeding wise. So this is the utmost importance. Plus, it's the last section series for our seniors, so we want to send them out on a high note.
What does this team need to do to make a deep run in the playoffs this year?
Like I said, I think the pitching will be there, so we just got to keep pitching, play some good defense behind them, and I think it is with most of our games. If we hit, there's not so many teams that are going to hang with us. So if we hit, we win.
All right. Well, sounds good. Appreciate you taking the time. Best of luck to you this year, or this today, and also in the playoffs.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you for broadcasting today, and thank you for all you do for the Avella School District.
An exciting new event venue is pulling into Washington County. The Rail Yard Venues is fired up and ready to make your next gathering a ride to remember. Choose from 2 gorgeous spaces. The Rail Yard Shed, which can seat up to 150 guests and is perfect for smaller gatherings. Or the Rail Yard Stables, a picturesque 8,000 square foot barn that can seat up to 350 guests that are ready to raise the roof. Both venues are climate controlled, have fully equipped bars, are handicapped accessible, have tons of parking, and have their own dedicated bridal suites and catering areas. Rather have an outdoor event? We can do that too. Whether it's a wedding, a graduation party, trade show, corporate event, family reunion, or any occasion worth celebrating, Rail Yard Venues is ready to get your party vision rolling full steam ahead. Contact us today. All aboard.
Well, he was there, but he said something about his dad. Just got my email, which I sent like 5 hours ago. He's coming to pick him up and take him to his work. So, just great. I can run that for a while.
So, I mean, I can just leave this one zoom down the whole field.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, you can run it for a little bit. Then when you're done, just leave it wide. I'll just cut it. You know,
Yeah.
that's all.
I would say we could use Colby. He would do too good of a job on the basketball game.
I think wide is better.
Yeah.
No, literally. How did none other than like
The game actually started.
Oh,
for
shit, it's like, did I do
It's okay. It's okay. That's good.
No, I'm just glad it's deep.
Yes, I have the little remote things hooked up to it, so you should be good.
So Spurs. Fever graphics down. Left and right. Like Carmichaels. Anytime you click it, you have to pick it.
But the balls and strikes, you don't have to pick it.
Okay. Balls and
Is
strikes.
that only for the score?
It's only for the score. Only for the score.
Everything else, if you're gonna do the bases, you have to pick the score. Okay. If you want to stand, sitting, just you get one.
I'll be better off standing anyways, at least while I'm playback playing, definitely, because then you can see. That's my English team. So every time I announce the win comes up, every other time it's four. I can see them. I don't even need these binoculars to know I can see them. I'm sure. So seeing out of a suit is so funny.
Wondering if I should move it over more this way, just because that does not really show in the field.
You move anywhere you want. I'll go up to it.
Just so we can see the whole field if I'm not there.
Yeah, you can move it this way and back. Right now, I got like 2/3 of the field, but if there's a hit like in the gap or whatever, it's not going to. Yeah, see, we can fiddle with it. That's a fine. Yeah.
You ready, Brian?
Yeah, I'll just give you you tell me when you're ready and I'll point to you when I got you live. Okay. But talk again real quick. Testing.
Hello. Where are we talking?
Where'd you go?
Where are we talking?
Hold on 1 second. Okay, well, I'm ready. So, you guys ready? Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Senior Day 2026 here at the Polar Star Field. And it's the Avella Eagles and the Carmichaels varsity Mikes. Your Avella Eagles currently come into today qualified for a playoff berth, their sixth straight playoff berth besides that COVID season, obviously. They sit at 7-3 in Class 1A, Section 1. Carmichaels comes into today 4-4 in the conference of Class 1A, Section 1. Chase Maseko alongside Ethan Spazarski here for the first broadcast here locally for baseball. We've done basketball, we've done football, and now it's time for some baseball. Ethan, welcome in.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very excited to be here. This is a really tight 1A matchup between the Mighty Mikes and for Avella as well. I think that the records may not especially show it for Carmichaels, but Carmichaels has done a lot of success against Avella here, especially no matter where they are, being able to range here and collect a lot of really impressive wins, although Carmichaels is going to need today to get a win to get back on track to still find a way into the playoffs.
Yeah, for Carmichaels, they've made the playoffs in the WPIAL, whether it be Class 1 or Class 2, in 24 straight seasons. So right now they have some work to do. 2 of the 4 teams have their spots locked up in Section 1 of 1A. That's Greensburg Central Catholic and Avella. Jefferson Morgan currently sits in third with a 6-4 conference record. And then, as of right now, Carmichael's sitting good in that 4th spot. But, of course, if you're head coach Richard Krause, you want your guys to get a win here and help solidify that playoff spot.
Yeah, Carmichael's been on a little bit of the rough end. 4-game losing streak coming into today, spanning through 2 games with Greensburg Central Catholic, along with a loss to McGuffey and Uniontown. Now, luckily, only 2 of those 4 losses in that 4-game losing streak come down as section losses, and the section's really going to determine a lot of where the seeding is, who makes in the playoffs. However, it's going to be crucial to come in to get a section win against Avella today and eventually tomorrow back in Carmichaels, PA. And I mean, for the Mighty Mikes, they started out on a pretty good start. Won 4 of the first 5 games of the year. However, since then, they only have 1 win after that losing streak, and that was a 6-4 win over Jeanette on the road back on April 8th. So Waynesboro looking to right the ship here as we're moving in rather to the latter half of the season.
And for the Eagles today, Bryce Wright going to be on the mound as he usually is on these Monday afternoons. He's already faced Carmichaels 3 times in his career. This is Senior Day, and Bryce Wright is a senior. And in his 3 career matchups versus Carmichaels, it's 15 2/3 inning pitch. He's allowed 7 earned runs, 10 walks to 18 strikeouts. He's 1-2, and it's a 3.22 ERA for Bryce Wright. Those 2 losses coming in the regular season, the lone win coming in the consolation game back in the 2024 WPIAL playoffs. So Bryce Wright, very familiar with Carmichaels, but this is a team that has lost a lot of players over the last couple of years to graduation. This is a junior-heavy team, Ethan, and they've had a lot of kind of growing pains so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, for growing pains to go 12-5 overall so far in your growing pains, that's a pretty good pains to deal with. Carmichaels as well got rid of 6 starters from last year, all of which were seniors. And I know talking to head coach Richard Krause, he made it clear that they were a lifeline to that team, and there's a massive transition coming to this year for the Mighty Mikes as well.
So we're about to get underway here. Bryce Wright on the mound pitching to Jordan Davis, and Davis fouls off the first pitch there. So the count will move to 0-1. For the Eagles on defense, it's going to be Braden Fuller doing the catching, Tristan Davis at first, Gabe Wright, Bryce Wright's brother, at second base, Chaz Rush at short, Cam Ullum at third, the 0-1. It's going to be high in it for ball number 1. And then the outfield working left to right. It's going to be Jordan Moore in left field, Noah Kimberlin in center, and Camden Jeffers in right. The 1-1. Ground to the third baseman. Ullum knocks it down on a hop, gets it over to first. Davis with a nice stretch there, and the first out of the ball game.
Yeah, really nice work. I mean, his third pitch in goes down the left field line, able to make a quick grab, and now all of a sudden you collect the first out. Good start here for Avella.
The next batter for Carmichaels is going to be Dom Yazani, the right fielder for today's contest. Right, pitching out of the windup, kicks and fires. Swung and miss on the fastball. Yazani coming into this one, batting .333, just 8 hits on the season, 8 RBI. Has 1 double and 1 triple. The 0-1. It's going to be way upstairs for ball 1. Izani also a pitcher for this Carmichaels team. Not the starting pitcher today. Could come in later in relief, however. 1-1's going to be high. Right working high and in early to this Carmichaels lineup. 2-1. Popped up. Working towards the fence on the third base line. It's going to be out of play. Ullum takes a look. Has to turn right back around. Count moves to 2-2.
So far, only one pitch has been able to go into play of the 7 pitches we've seen so far. So far from right, a lot of things, while a couple have escaped him high in the zone, he's been able to keep everything in front of him and not have anything reach into the outfield yet.
2-2. Swung and miss on the pitch outside. First strikeout of the day for Bryce Wright, and 2 outs for the Eagles here in the top of the first. Bryce Wright for the Eagles. He has been their best pitcher all season long. He continues getting the start today. 2 quick outs for the Eagles. 2 outs in the top of the first. Nothing here in Avella. Wright's first pitch is a ball. Wright works with a fastball, slider, curveball. He's committed to play baseball at Bethany College after this season. As the 1-0's popped up to center field. Kimberland in a couple of steps. He'll camp under it and pick up the 3rd out of the inning. So a clean inning for Bryce Wright. And we'll step aside here, and we'll be back for the bottom of the first here from the Polar Star Field.
The Alex E. Paris Contracting Company, Incorporated, has had a wealth of success that began in 1928 in areas ranging from road construction to coal mining to underground utilities, industrial services, and heavy construction. And in today's ever-expanding energy services industry, the company provides site development, foundations, buildings, undergrounds, process piping, installation, and construction management. The future is bright for the company under the guidance of Alex E. Paris, CEO, and Timothy A. Paris, Vice President of Operations. One constant during the operation of the Alex E. Paris Contracting Corporation has been the company's commitment to hiring a professional, dedicated workforce. With today's continually evolving construction and energy climate, the company is dedicated to providing competitive wages and benefits and on enhancing employee skills through continual training and professional development. And whether working locally, regionally, or nationally, skilled workers are needed in a variety of areas. Join us and help to continue the rich tradition associated with Alex E. Paris Contracting, Incorporated.
Welcome back here at the Polar Star Field for this Class A Section 1 matchup between the Avella Eagles and the Carmichaels Mighty Mikes. Through 1/2 inning here, still scoreless. Bryce Wright sets down the Mikes in order, and now Avella will have their turn, but they're going to have to face Scott Maskill for the Carmichaels Mikes.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good test again for Carmichaels. We kind of talked about it in our open where they stand this year. It's a bit away from where they were. I mean, runner-up in 1A Whitfield baseball just a year ago, but this year going to have to turn it around and try to get back on it. And luckily, with a team that's only beat them once since 1999, that's going to provide really good opportunity for them to try to get back into it and compete and look later into the year. For Maskill this year, 4.05 ERA, 2-3 record overall so far. This will be his 8th appearance of the year as well. So one of the better pitchers on this Carmichaels team to be able to give his team a chance, and it's going to come up against a really strong Avella team so far that's going through a bit of a transition themselves.
Noah Kimberlin will be the leadoff hitter for the Eagles, as he has been so much this season. He is the center fielder today. Maskill working out of the stretch with no runners on. First pitch will be a ball. Kimberlin coming into today batting .375. He has 15 hits this season, and he's scored 14 runs. So a traditional table setter type of leadoff man, gets on base a lot, scores a lot of runs for the Eagles. 1-0 is going to be popped up to the right side. Second baseman ranging over, drops in, fair ball. Noah Kimberlin starts the day off with the Eagles and gets a single. So Avella instantly getting on the base pass here in the first.
Yeah, really good work. Second pitch, he's able to get one down along that right field line, and it's kind of Sky just in an awkward spot. Not even a bad play by the defense, just an unfortunate place where the ball was able to land in between the infield and outfield.
Next up for the Eagles going to be the catcher, Braden Fuller. Fuller batting just .229 this season, but then you look at the on-base percentage, .542 on-base percentage. He's walked 19 times and been hit by 5 pitches. So far, the bat hasn't exactly been up to par with his usual standards, but part of that is just from the sheer amount of walks that he's seen this season. Pickoff move, gets by. Kimberlin gets up, but he's going to stay put as the ball got past Lampana, and it's still 0-1 here.
Yeah, that wall ate a lot of where that ball was rolling, so it gets to a dead stop. So more of a cautious but wise decision by Kimberlin to stay over at first base.
Here at the Polar Star Field, not a lot of foul territory. Oftentimes you run into that wall before you can get somewhere. Next pitch is going to be way over Fuller's head, and it will get past the catcher, Andrews, as Kimberlin moves up to second on the wild pitch. And Avella's threatening here with a runner on second and nobody out here in the bottom of the first. Braden Fuller, the catcher committed to Waynesburg after this season to play baseball, facing Scott Gaskill from the Carmichaels Mikes. Gaskill, long pause. He'll step off, and we'll reset and do it again. Kimberlin on second after a flared single to right, and then the wild pitch got him over. Gaskill gazes into his catcher, Andrews, kicks and fires. Popped up by Fuller, and that's going to be out of play behind the backstop. No harm, no foul. Count moves to 0-2. Scott Maskill on the mound for the Mikes, facing Braden Fuller, the catcher for the Eagles. Maskill takes his time getting to the mound, stares in once more, comes set. The 0-2. It's going to be grounded foul. Head coach Jason Fogg almost gets a hand on it, but rolls by him. Back-to-back fouls there for Braden Fuller.
Yeah, Fuller originally looked like he wasn't going to have to compete much. However, Maskell's been able to find his way back in here on the last few pitches on the count. Now it's a duel of the fates, as we'll have to call it, between Fuller and Maskill.
Maskill comes set for the 1-2 to Fuller. Pop foul once again. Continuing to make Maskill work here, Braden Fuller. Bryce Wright waiting in the wings and the on deck. And Cameron Olam sitting in the hole for the Eagles. Fuller digs in. Points his bat at the pitcher. Twirls it once as Maskill comes set. The pitch. Swung and miss. First out of the inning for Maskill, and it's a strikeout of Braden Fuller. So after the wild pitch where Kimberlin moved up, no harm done after that, and Bryce Wright will come to the plate for the Eagles.
Yeah, really good work there to find his way back in. Maskill had to kind of settle down off the wild pitch to start in the at-bat, then a couple foul balls follow, and then he finds a strike zone to collect strike 3.
Maskill comes set to right. It's going to be a ball high from Maskill. Maskill, 33 strikeouts to 25 walks this season, so that's not exactly the sort of ratio you want when you're pitching. A few too many balls. Wright, batting .447 this season for the Eagles. Leads the team in hits, RBIs, doubles, and a host of other categories. 24 RBIs on the season with a chance to drive in Kimberlin and make it 25. Maskill comes set. And the 2-0 to right. It's going to be down low for ball 3. Maybe a case of the intentional walk here. You see Bryce Wright's numbers, maybe trying to work around it. We've talked to head coach Richard Krause about Bryce Wright multiple times, even prior to this season, and he knows how good of a player he is, maybe working around, and that's going to be ball 4. An easy walk there for Wright. So it's going to be first and second with 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Still scoreless here from the Polar Star Field in Avella.
Yeah, 4 pitches that kind of gone away. That last one was arguably the best pitch in the at-bat, at least in regards to finding the zone. But so now you're going to have to see Maskell's got himself into a bit of a situation with Avella threatening here with a couple patient at-bats.
Cam Ullum batting cleanup today for the Eagles, the third baseman. He's bounced around the lineup, but bounced back up to the 4 spot this time. First pitch in there for a strike on the outside corner. Ullum has 8 RBI this season, batting just .211, but another one of those guys who likes to take their walks, has a .415 on-base percentage. 0-1, up high for ball 1. We have Kimberland on second after he flared a base hit to right and then reached second on a wild pitch, and then Braden Fuller struck out swinging before Bryce Wright drew a 4-pitch walk. And now we're 1-1 from Scott Maskell to Cameron Ullum. 1-1. Ullum watches the off-speed pitch low and in the dirt. Count moves to 2-1. Carmichaels outfielders off-centered to the right a little bit, expecting potentially a ball hit to the opposite field. 2-1. He's going to chop it to the third baseman, Davis. Davis comes up firing. Safe. Cameron Ullum busting it out of the box, and he'll have an infield hit. Davis couldn't get it to LaPena in time, and it's bases loaded with 1 out, and Chaz Rush coming to the plate for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, really good work there by Avella to take it in, and then you fire one off, and then just the hustle down the line by Ullum. A really good job breaking down. He beats out a pretty good throw by Davis, who was on it. Not even like he was a step too far back, just really good hustle, and all of a sudden the bases are full here for Avella.
Eagles threatening here. 1 out in the bottom of the first. Bases loaded. Chaz Rush up to the plate. First pitch is going to be swung through and missed. From Maskell to Rush. Chaz Rush, batting .357 this season, has 11 runs scored, 17 RBI. Also has the lone Eagle home run this season. 0-1. Rush watches it off the outside edge. Count moves to 1-1. See what Carmichaels decides to do here. Right now, they're not bringing the infield in. They're still... The second baseman's back on the grass. Shortstop and third base in a couple of steps, but nothing too out of the ordinary. 1-1. Rush grounds it foul down the third base line, right past head coach Jason Fogg of the Eagles. And count will move to 1-2.
It's kind of exactly what you need here if you're Carmichaels. Just force Avella to get in some awkward situations at the plate and force them to be more swing heavy instead of being more passive.
Scott Maskell deals. It's going to be a ball outside, maybe a little bit low. Count moves to 2-2. Eagles threatening here in the bottom of the first. Remember, the Eagles already qualified to the playoffs. Carmichael's still searching for that 25th consecutive postseason berth. 2-2. Swung and missed. Chaz Rush gets sat down by Maskell, and Maskell picks up his second swinging strikeout of the inning. 2 outs now for Carmichaels, and Avella running out of chances to get the runs in here in the first.
Crucial second out there, and it makes things a lot easier here on Maskell in the defense because now you just need the 1 out, kind of go back to routine baseball instead of having to force yourself to be getting 2 different outs at the same time.
First pitch is going to be a ball. Strikeout just absolutely crucial there for Carmichaels. Now you can step on any base, makes it easier and less stressful for every player on the field. They just have to make one play, like you mentioned, Ethan. Don't have to go out of the way and make a spectacular play. 1-0. Ball 2 on that pitch in the dirt. Tristan Davis at the plate for the Eagles. He's batting .302 this season. Has 13 hits and 12 RBIs for the junior first baseman. Kimberland on third, Wright on second, and Ullum on first. 2-0 the count, and Maskill to Davis. Davis watches ball 3 high. Already 1 walk in the inning. That was the 4th pitch walk to Wright. Davis now in the box, and Maskill in a 3-0 count, potentially walking in a run. Scott Maskill comes set. Deep breath, fires home. Fastball right down the middle for strike number 1. Tristan Davis has been the first baseman all season long. Last year we saw him play a little bit of second as well, some designated hitter spot starts as well. 3-1. Chop to the pitcher. Maskill gets it, gets his one to LaPana, and a quick, an easy one there. So Avella strands the bases loaded. We head to the second here, still scoreless. Nothing score here moving into the top of the second between this Section 1A of Class A matchup between the Avella Eagles and the Carmichaels Mikes. It was a scoreless first, but it was an eventful bottom of the first, Ethan, as Carmichael's able to strand the bases loaded after Avella was able to get the bases loaded with just 1 out.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Carmichaels go down quickly on the offensive portion of their top of the first inning, and then the bottom, some early struggles. You give up the blooper single to right field to start. You collect an out, but then with some wild pitches and a walk, you're able to force things to have 2 runners on, and then you're able to get there's another runner added before you collect your second out. So a wave of different emotions, but more importantly, Carmichaels collects themselves, gets out of that bottom of the first inning, now gives themselves a chance to add on and try to create some trouble here for Avella on their defensive side.
Right back in for a second inning of work, facing Elon Caldwell, the designated hitter. And Caldwell swings at a ball that's way over in the left-handed batter's box, and it's strike 1.
Yeah, something we've seen so far, too. Carmichael's not afraid to swing. They had, with Yazani, a swinging strikeout back to be out number 2 in inning 1.
0-1, same pitch, different result, as Caldwell decides not to swing at it this time. Bryce Wright for the Eagles, 5-0 this season in 33 innings pitched. He has a 2.3 ERA. As his 1-1 is ball outside, really trying to work that off-speed pitch on the outside corner, just missing a little bit right now. Wright, 53 strikeouts to just 10 walks this season. As the 2-1's going to be grounded to the right side for a base hit, right in between the second baseman Gabe Wright and the first baseman Tristan Davis, and Carmichaels has their first base runner of the ball game.
Yeah, really well done there by Carmichaels. You saw early on by Caldwell. He was a bit of aggressive going down for 1 in the dirt, kind of settles in 2 pitches later, and then that third pitch finds it, goes to right field, and that's where the magic happens.
And that's exactly what you want to do on those outside pitches, is just take it the other way. Don't pull it. Don't pull your head off it and try to take it to the pull side. Just push it to the other side, and that's exactly what Caldwell did. Braden Andrews up. He's going to bunt it. That's going to be a fair ball. Gabe Wright gets there, and the call is safe as Braden Andrews picks up a bunt single, and it's first and second, nobody out for the Mikes.
Yeah, originally when that bunt, it came off, that pitch was high up inside or up top of the zone, so Andrews has to force it down the right field line right where he's going, and conveniently Avella was playing towards first base, so the point to advance the runner was successful, but more importantly, great speed by Andrews outside the box, taking off and going running with the bunt. Then he got himself safe at first, and more importantly, still no outs here.
It was looks like the runner Caldwell's coming off. See, what I think they may have called is when Gabe Wright was going to field that ball, it looked like he may have come into contact with Caldwell. So I believe that they may have called Caldwell out on some runner's interference, which is a huge break for the Avella Eagles. It was going from first and second, nobody out, to just a runner on first and one out. So everything we just said about the successful bunt taken back, and now there's one out in the inning.
Yeah, that really changes things too, especially with no runners being in scoring position in the process as well. And now you see head coach Richard Krause trying to get an explanation, kind of confused as well, because both runners were originally standing on the bags, and then next thing you know, Caldwell was taking a jog back to the dugout, and I believe that is what the infield was calling for, some contact over near first base on the play.
So the Eagles will take the second to take a visit on the mound, kind of discuss their strategy. So now it'll be Braden Andrews, the catcher on first base, one out. Bryce Wright still on the mound. Still scoreless here in the top of the second inning. Owen Ray coming up to bat for the Carmichaels Mikes.
Well, and you have to wonder, too, and that definitely changes the game plan if you are the Avella Eagles coming into it, how things have changed for yourself when dealing with two runners on and no outs compared to the one runner on with no out, none in scoring position.
First pitch is going to be pop foul. Over to the softball field. There is a softball game happening as well right here on the Polar Star field. 3 different fields down at the Polar Star if you've been here. Baseball, obviously, on the field we're on. Field number 2 is going to be the softball, the Mustang, the lower levels. And then there's a Shetland field down yonder. So a lot of baseball can be happening at one time. Runner goes. Throw by Fuller. And it's going to be in and out of Rush's glove. So the runner's safe. Braden Andrews steals second. And Carmichaels has a runner on scoring position here with one out.
Yeah, really good. I mean, Andrews got a late jump, too. That throw was pretty online. If you're able to see a Rush hold on to that ball and he applies the tag, that's almost an easy out. But luckily, Andrews is able to break through. Rush isn't able to hold on to the ball, and now he's sitting on second base.
Interesting there by Andrews. Didn't go in sliding, went in standing up. So Rush had a great opportunity to get the tag on the leg. But the ball pops out, Andrews gets second, and Carmichaels is threatening here in the second. So Wright still working out of the stretch now. Be a ball high. 2 balls, 1 strike the count here in the top of the second inning. Avella Eagles versus the Carmichaels Mikes. Bryce Wright on the mound, Braden Andrews on second, and Owen Ray in the box for the Mikes. The 2-1. Line to the right side. Gabe Wright able to snag that frozen rope out. And Andrews forced to dive back into second. So 2 outs now here in the top of the second inning.
Yeah, really good work for Wright. It's a simple play, one right back to him, but more impressively, Braden Andrews luckily was just in sliding territory, gets back head first to second base. And it was great awareness to not kind of get ahead of himself, assuming that ball was going to go out into the outfield.
The Wright brothers able to combine for the out. Bryce Wright on the mound, Gabe Wright at second. 2 outs now. First pitch is going to be shot to the right side, down for a base hit. We're going to wave the runner home. Jeffers bobbles the ball, and the runner will score easily on the single there. On the single, and the runner scores as it's now 1-0. Braden Andrews, that stolen base, does get Carmichaels the first run of the game. And Scott Maskill able to drive in that runner, so helping himself out on the mound with a RBI single to right.
Yeah, opposite field hit really well, and we've seen all the hits go towards right field so far today. Really good work to kind of take advantage of the work by Andrews to get over to second and then stay at second, and now Carmichaels will start to put their foot in the right way forward to win the game.
0-0 is going to be pitched up high for a ball. 1-0. And just, once again, taking the ball the other way for Carmichaels. Both of their hits in this inning, taking those outside pitches to the opposite field, and able to get a run out of it. So Maskill on first now. That pitch is going to be popped up to right. Jeffers ranging over. It's going to be just out of his reach and foul. So everybody will reset and we'll do it again.
Yeah, that one easily the hardest hit ball so far today, traveling just out into foul territory, out near the natural lift out in the right field. So for Carmichaels, we're seeing a little bit more of an aggressive approach at the plate, more swings than we did back in the first inning and even earlier on here in the second.
Scott Maskill on first. Ryder Krieg will be the batter, the junior shortstop, batting .212 this season, facing Bryce Wright, pitching for the Eagles. Wright comes set, kicks and fires. It's a ball up high. Count moves to 1-2. Krieg has 5 RBIs this season and 1 double. He's another one of these guys who also takes some time on the mound, has 6 appearances this season on the mound. As you see so often in Class A baseball, everybody kind of has to do everything. The 1-2. Ball outside, just a little bit up as well.
Good patience by Krieg there. I mean, that one just missing rather the outside of the zone. Could have been a little aggressive trying to take another one opposite field, but Krieg holds on to it and watches the pitch go by to work the count to 2-2.
Wright has 1 strikeout so far today. That was on Yazani. The 2-2 from Wright. Popped up. Gabe Wright charges in, calls off everybody, and will catch it over his head for the 3rd out of the inning. So Carmichael strikes for 1. So they'll have 1 run on 2 hits. No errors, 1 man left on base. And when we come back, the Eagles will be up in the bottom of the 2nd. Back here for the bottom of the 2nd here from the Polar Star Field. Carmichaels leads the Avella Eagles 1-0. Scott Maskill helps himself out with an RBI base hit to right. And it's a 1-0 ball game here as the Mikes lead the Eagles.
Yeah, it was funny. We had talked about leaving the first inning, how Avella was the ones putting the pressure in and putting all the gas, no break, really, and, with a mix of different patient at-bats, with also ones getting really good work in singles, and then Carmichaels is able to lock down themselves and get out of it. Now they retaliate, and a quick response as well. An impressive one, too, because for Carmichaels, again, they're still on the outside looking in, trying to find themselves back into the WPIAL playoffs here in Class 1A, and you know, even though last year they weren't even a high seed, they were able to manage to take themselves off to the Whitfield Championship as they'll look to do the same this year in a really tough classification in 1A as well.
1A has just 7 of the 12 teams qualified for a playoff spot. There's the series this week, and then a series next week, and then a week off before the Whitfield playoffs. So 7-8-9 up for the Eagles. Jordan Moore up to the bat. He's going to pop up that first pitch into shallow center. An easy fly out there for Chase Ankrum. And there's 1 pitch, 1 out for Scott Maskill.
Yeah, really good work. Again, communication along the outfield as well as, you're seeing out there. Really good work by Richards. He calls in and says, Ankrum, I got you, I'm behind you, I'm behind you. They're able to communicate, come in on it, because these routine plays, nothing is routine without communication.
Avella's been able to put the ball in play so far, but they've all been routine plays. Nothing too difficult for the Mikes so far. First pitch to Luka Davis in there for a strike. Luka Davis, a freshman for these Avella Eagles. His brother Tristan playing first base today. Next pitch is going to be a ball. Count moves to 1-1. Luka Davis batting .257 this year in the designated hitter role for senior Camden Jeffers, who's playing right field. Next pitch going to be swung through and missed for strike number 2. Count moves to 1-2 here in the bottom of the second inning. Carmichaels leads 1-0 after the Scott Maskill single in the top half of this inning. 1-2. Davis pops it foul off the protective netting, bounces right back into play. And we'll do it again at 1-2.
Yeah, Maskill so far, quick work so far. He's gotten a few quick pitches in. His tempo's picked up. He's been more confident. You're seeing a lot of the deliveries, and now just one strike away from collecting his second out here in the top of the, or rather the bottom of the second inning.
1-2. Grounded up the middle. Krieg going to stop it. He's going to drop it. And Luka Davis beats the throw. It'll be an error on Ryder Krieg. And the Eagles will have a base runner on first with one out.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, too, because it's, again, a routine play. And without, I mean, luckily for Krieg, he makes the step in on it, he gets it to the glove, but his head kind of looking towards first before he had the ball in control in his glove, looks away, and that's where the bobble comes in and the error is applied. So an unfortunate break for Carmichaels, but a fortunate one for Avella to try to get back on track and tie up the ball game here in the bottom of the second.
An unfortunate break for Carmichaels indeed. This field can't be the best to play on sometimes. I had experience with that for 3 years, and there's a lot of difficult bounces. We like to call it the Polar Star hop, because when other teams came in, they really struggled defensively, as that second pitch is going to be wild, but Davis will hang out at first. But we called it a real distinct advantage of the fact that we practiced on it and played on it so much that we were really the only ones that could handle those bad bounces. Gabe Wright up to bat. He's going to swing and miss at that pitch. Count moves to 1-1 now. Luka Davis on first. Scott Maskill still on the mound for the Mikes. Remember, the Mikes sit at 4-4 in the conference right now, sitting in that fourth playoff spot, but have not guaranteed anything yet. 1-1, swung through and missed by Wright. Count moves to 1-2. Noah Kimberlin waiting in the wings for the Eagles. He led off the game with a single as the 1-2 from Maskill. Swung and missed. His third strikeout of the game here through one trip to the lineup. Scott Maskill with 3 strikeouts, and the Eagles will turn it over back to the top of the order.
Really good work by Maskill, kind of settled himself down there against Gabe Wright. Finds a really good command in on a lot of his pitches, finds his zone, and especially is able to blow it right past Gabe Wright as well to collect the second out.
Flipping back over to the top of the order, Noah Kimberland. Luka Davis on first here. 1-0 Carmichaels leads in the bottom of the second as Kimberland fouls that first one back. Noah Kimberland, as with multiple other Eagles, is a multi-sport athlete. Specifically for Kimberland, football, as he was a big part of the Avella Eagles rushing attack, getting almost 500 rushing yards this season, scored 8 touchdowns for the Eagles as they made it to the Whippeal playoffs before being eliminated by Fort Cherry in round 1. 0-1 from 0-1 to Kimberland was looked at. Maskill to Kimberlin. Chopped to the third base side, but fielded by head coach Jason Fogg, and count will go to 1-2. Jason Fogg always preaching to get in front of the ball, so he takes every opportunity on every foul ball down his way to show the proper technique every single time, no matter what. So 1-2 here. is going to be up high for ball number 2. 1-0 here in the bottom of the second. Eagles trail the Mikes after a Scott Maskill single in the bottom, or in the top half of this inning, rather. Maskill working out of the stretch, comes set, kicks, fires. Looks at a ball just low on the off speed. Count moves to 3-2 now. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here. Davis will be on the move here with 2 outs. The 3-2. It's going to be ball up. And another walk for Maskill, another base runner for the Eagles. So it's going to be first and second with 2 outs and Braden Fuller coming to the dish.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate because you get the 1-2 count very quickly, and then you're just 3 straight balls kind of away from up top of the zone, not really where Maskill wanted to be. Now you have some more traffic to deal with, so Maskill for the second consecutive inning is going to have 2 or more base runners he's going to have to deal with.
So Braden Fuller comes to the plate. He struck out swinging in the first inning after fouling off about 5 pitches in a row. We mentioned earlier his prolific walk numbers this season, so perfect guy to keep the line moving in this one. First pitch up high for a ball. Senior day here at Avella. Braden Fuller, one of the seniors. Noah Kimberlund on first base. He's one of our seniors. Bryce Wright on deck, another senior. Camden Jeffers as well. Pitch to Fuller is going to be popped foul. That protective netting right over home plate, it keeps a lot of balls from going into the softball field or back into the cars from everybody parked right behind home plate there. So count now 1-1 here, 2 outs. Luka Davis on second and Noah Kimberlin on first. 1-0, Carmichaels leads. 1-1. He pops it to the right side. The first baseman, LaPana, takes a couple steps to his left. Oh, and he drops the ball. So it's going to be foul, and Braden Fuller will have a second life here with 2 outs.
The only positive that can come away with that is it was in foul territory, so the runners can't advance, and a strike is added to the count. The unfortunate part is it doesn't get you out of the inning. LaPana just plays it back kind of a step ahead of where the ball was landing, had to stretch back and wasn't able to get all of his glove underneath it as it slid through his webbing.
For Fuller at the plate here, 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. A second life given after the dropped foul ball by LaPana. Maskill comes set. Davis on second. Kimberlin on first. The pitch to Fuller. Ball high. Count moves to 2-2.
Now the second consecutive batter from Kimberlin to start now to Fuller. You see a 1-2 count worked by Maskill. However, the next pitch ensuing from there misses high in the zone.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch. Fought off to the right side, but Maskill right there to field it. So Avella gets 2 runners on with 2 outs, but nothing doing for them. We'll head to the top of the third. Carmichael still leads 1-0.
You deserve a bank that lifts up your business, that shares your spirits and your taste for success. At Washington Financial, we pride ourselves on crafting solutions that are as one of a kind as your business is. Go with the bank that gets you. Washington Financial Bank.
Third inning here from the Polar Star Field in Avella, Pennsylvania. A beautiful sunny day. Blue skies all around. A little bit windy because we're down here in the valley. But other than that, a beautiful day for baseball.
Oh, overall, absolutely, especially where the season started. When the season started for all these WPIAL teams, it was 30 degrees, and rather in the lower portion there is very cold. So we've transitioned into more consistent, nice weather. I like to think that and hope that it holds that way. However, funny enough, last year for all the WPIAL championships, the consistent weather consensus, rainy, wet, and cold, hoping that it holds off this year as these two teams are biting to find their way into the tournament, as we've seen Avella clear and clinch. Carmichael's still fighting, but so far in the right progression to do so, as they're up 1-0 here into the third inning.
Yeah, and Scott Maskell's done it on the mound for the Mikes. He's also did it at the plate with an RBI base hit to right field. So that's how we got here. 1 RBI out of Scott Maskell. And we'll reset here for the top of the third. First pitch driven foul by Chase Ankrum. Ankrum playing center field for Carmichaels today. Comes into today batting .364. 9 runs scored and 4 RBI. Bryce Wright still on the mound for the Eagles. 0-1. Grounded. Third baseman Ulam blocks it with his body, but it'll be not in time. So it's going to be a base hit there for Ankrum. And Carmichaels gets another leadoff runner on here for the second inning in a row. And the top of the order coming up for the Mikes.
Ankrum, when he bursts down the box as he's streaking down, his steps weren't as far as traditional runners see, more of quick, faster strides, but he's able to break it down, get through the line, and take advantage of a bobble in on the infield rather from Ulam.
First pitch is going to be popped up, right ranging over to the fence, tries to jump the fence, and he makes the catch! Bryce Wright, like a spider monkey, climbs the fence, makes the catch. There's 1 out.
Yeah, that's as impressive as it gets. Really good work by Wright to range on the wall. Again, kind of utilize his shoe in on the fence to grit the glove just over top of the fence in foul territory, and he collects a very crucial out.
That was a spectacular catch. Really don't know how he did that. I thought he climbed the fence a little bit too early, but able to just reach his glove over, make the catch, and a crucial out number 1, as you mentioned, especially against the leadoff hitter Jordan Davis. So now Wright will check on the runner, gets away. And Chase Ankrum with an easy run over to second on the pickoff attempt. And Wright taps his chest, says, "That's my bad on the throw." But now a runner in scoring position once again for the Mikes, and just 1 out.
Unlike before, this pitch coming over from Wright, it doesn't just stay parallel to the bag. This one skips away left portion of the bag, so it allows Ankrum rather to take off and get to second base easily, rather than what we've seen before where the wall absorbs the wild throw over.
Next pitch is going to be a strike there to Dom Yazani. He struck out in the first inning. As Wright, working out of the stretch, comes set, keeps the arms low, steps, fires. It's going to be just inside for ball number 1. Here in the top of the third inning, Carmichaels leads 1-0. Eagles had multiple chances with runners in scoring position so far, but unable to capitalize, whereas Carmichaels has been able to capitalize so far today. Pitch from Wright. Shot to the second baseman, and Gabe Wright right there to stop it. And it'll be the quick second out of the inning. So the runner Ankrum will move up to third. So it's a runner on third with 2 outs for the Carmichaels Mikes.
Yeah, really good job there. Even though the ground out advances the runner, you're able to create yourself an opportunity and allow Carmichaels to still try to add on another run here before leaving the third inning.
Connor LaPana will be the batter for the Mikes. First at bat, he flew out to Noah Kimberlin in center field. He's batting .267 so far this season. The 0-0 is going to be in the other batter's box, 1-0. LaPana has 4 RBI, 8 hits, just 1 double, but is batting third for Carmichaels today. So 1 ball, no strikes, 2 outs here. Ankrum on third. Wright's pitch to LaPana. Off-speed pitch in there for strike number 1. Carmichaels were able to capitalize with the runner in scoring position last inning, trying to do the same this. Wright checks, kicks, fires. Same pitch, off speed, just in there for strike number 2. And we're at a 1-2 count here with 2 outs in the top of the third. Carmichaels leads 1-0. Ankrum on third. Right on the mound, LaPana in the box. Right to LaPana. Thinks about it, but doesn't go. And count moves to 2-2.
Good patience so far as we've seen. Carmichaels earlier on a little bit more aggressive to trying to get the ball into play as the game has traveled on. We've seen a little bit more of a passive approach.
Right. Against LaPana in the 2-2. Fouled off the catcher, Fuller, and we'll stay right here in the 2-2 count with 2 outs. Carmichaels making Wright work hard so far through these 2 2/3 innings. Not afraid to work his pitch count up, foul off a lot of pitches. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and the pitch from Wright. It's going to be ball high and in. Count moves to 3-2 here with 2 outs. Chase Ankrum, the center fielder, on third base for the Mikes. He slashed a single before moving up on the errant throw or the errant pickoff attempt, and then moving up on the 4-3 putout. 3-2. In there, strike 3. Bryce Wright sets him down. So Carmichaels, no runs on 1 hit, no 1 error by the Eagles, and 1 runner left on base. We'll head to the bottom half of the third. Carmichaels 1, Avella nothing.
Josh Kale, he's one of us, delivering for our district and standing for Western Pennsylvania values. Josh Kale, fighting for jobs and growth without tax hikes, while holding the line on spending. Josh Kale, getting the job done. Josh Kale, he's one of us, delivering for our district and standing for Western Pennsylvania values. Josh Kale, fighting for jobs and
The Alex E. Paris Contracting Company Incorporated has had a wealth of success that began in 1928 in areas ranging from road construction to coal mining to underground utilities, industrial services, and heavy construction. And in today's ever-expanding energy services industry, the company provides site development, foundations, buildings, undergrounds, process piping, installation, and construction management. The future is bright for the company under the guidance of Alex E. Paris, CEO, and Timothy A. Paris, Vice President of Operations. One constant during the operation of the Alex E. Paris Contracting Corporation has been the company's commitment to hiring a professional, dedicated workforce. With today's continually evolving construction and energy climate, the company is dedicated to providing competitive wages and benefits and on enhancing employee skills through continual training and professional development. And whether working locally, regionally, or nationally, skilled workers are needed in a variety of areas. Join us and help to continue the rich tradition associated with Alex E. Paris Contracting Incorporated.
Welcome back here into the bottom of the third. There was just some screaming over on the softball field, so it's safe to say the Eagles did something good over there. But now the baseball team will have an opportunity to do more of the same right here. It's going to be 3-4-5 for the Eagles. Bryce Wright, Cam Ullum, and Chaz Rush.
Yeah, Avella's going to need to start getting themselves something going here. Both innings, they've sent up at the minimum of 4 batters or more, and now they're going to have to try to find themselves to get a few runners on, or rather a few runners to come home.
Scott Maskill still on the mound for Carmichaels. Carmichaels, a team that has really had Avella's number over the year. Through all the research I could do, since Avella defeated Carmichaels in the 2024 playoffs, the last win prior to that was 1999. And in that 1999 game, Avella won 3-0, and pitcher Dave Cicchini of the Eagles had 17 strikeouts in that game. And all the research I could do after the fact could not find another win for the Eagles. 2-1 count now. Maskill pitching to Wright. Wright reached on a walk the first time around and eventually got to second following another walk. 2-1 in the dirt, 3-1.
We've seen this a few times by Maskill to start out an inning as well, so nothing to be too worried about so far as Avella's leadoff men and through the first 2 innings have been able to find themselves on base.
3-1 now the count. Maskill facing Wright. We mentioned Wright, one of the best hitters for the Eagles. He's going to have a pitch to hit, and he'll foul it off into the softball field. You can always hear the echoes of fans and players alike screaming, "Heads up, heads up, heads up." it is kind of a bad angle for softball to see what's happening from the baseball field. 3 balls, 2 strikes, the pitch. It's going to be outside, ball 4, so Wright picks up his second walk of the game. And that will bring up Cam Ullum, who had a single of his first time up. Remember, that was an infield single for Cam Ullum back in the first inning to load the bases for the Eagles, but they were unable to score. Carmichaels had a run in the top of the second, and that's how we got here to the 1-0 game. Maskill takes a peek at right, comes set. Pickoff attempt, way late after Wright dives in. As we mentioned with Noah Kimberland, this Avella team full of multi-sport athletes. Cam Ullum played center for the Avella Eagles, and they also made it to the WPIAL playoffs, but they lost in the quarterfinals to Sarah Catholic. And in that game, Cam Ullum led all scorers with 21 points from the paint. A tremendous season for both the football team, basketball team, baseball looking to do the same now. First pitch to Ullum will be a strike after the 2 pickoff attempts. Ullum plays third base for the Eagles, will occasionally come in and pitch on the mound as well in relief. Another pickoff move. Carmichael's really worried about Wright potentially getting a head start here and stealing a base.
Yeah, we've seen 3 pickoff attempts just to the 1 pitch so far here.
As Maskill comes set, still just 0-1 here. It's going to be ball outside, and it's a wild pitch. Wright gets to move up 90 feet. And now there's going to be a runner on second, nobody out here in the bottom half of the 3rd inning.
So then those 3 consecutive, or rather 3 of pickoff attempts over at first base, just null and void because of the 3 pass. That's a 3rd wild pitch we've seen today as well from Maskill here, and that's a 3rd in 3 innings, 1 in the past 3 innings.
Maskill's 1-1. Curveball that comes all the way inside, able to get in the back door there for strike number 2. Count moves to 1-2 on Ullum. Beautiful pitch there by Maskill, able to work it back in. It looked like it started out of the zone, able to dive back in for strike number 2. 1-2. Swung and missed. Maskill picks up another K. It's going to be his 4th of the ball game already.
Really good job. Yeah, the one thing Maskill's been able to do is find the strike zone, and effectively, too. 3 of those 4 strikeouts so far have been swinging strikeouts by the Eagles.
Chaz Rush will be the next batter. The junior shortstop. He's going to look at a ball high. That off-speed pitch just couldn't dive enough. And to keep with our theme of talking about multi-sport athletes, here's Chaz Rush, a all-conference quarterback in the Tri-County South this past season. Had 9 passing touchdowns, 800 passing yards, added another 7 rushing touchdowns, and 500 yards on the ground. So Avella full of multi-sport athletes. Rush, as we mentioned, as well, the only Eagle to have a home run this season. And he's up 2 balls and no strikes here against Maskill. Scott Maskill comes set, doesn't check the runner, throws the pitch. Swung through and missed by Rush. Count moves to 2-1. Rush did strike out swinging, back in the first inning. It was the 2nd of the day for Maskill. This is Maskill's 2-1. Poke the other way. It's going to be just fair, and LaPena, an easy routine play. He takes 1 step in, gets the glove in the dirt, and it's a 3 unassisted. So 2 outs now and a runner on 3rd for the Eagles. And Tristan Davis coming to the plate.
Really good job, too, because it's a dribbler right down the line. It gets to LaPena, so he's able to take the routine play and glove it himself and not allow anything extracurricularly to carry on after. And now for Avella, and again on their positive side, you're able to advance another runner, but are you going to be able to get them home? Tristan Davis is going to be given to the task.
Grounds it to the left side. Krieg with a nice stop on one knee, fires over, and he got him. A beautiful play from one knee by Ryder Krieg. And Carmichael's able to leave Avella scoreless. No runs on no hits, No errors, 1 runner left on base. We head to the 4th. Here, Carmichaels 1, Avella nothing.
Welcome back into Polar Star Field here in Avella, Pennsylvania. So Mighty Mike's currently up 1-0 over the Avella Eagles, and now up will be Elon Caldwell to kick it off for Carmichaels as he takes a swing and a miss for strike 1. We've gotten here so far through pretty much of a pitcher's duel, excluding what was an effective second inning for Carmichaels, as it was the Mighty Mikes who struck first as Brent Andrews scored in on the RBI single from Scott Maskill, the starting pitcher for Carmichaels here today. As Caldwell now steps in, waiting his 0-1 pitch in from right. This one's going to be dribbled down the right field line, well foul though, skipping through the white chalk for the count to now run 0-2. Carmichaels coming into today at a 5-8 overall record, 4-4 in section play, which is crucial, and they're also looking to snap a 4-game losing streak in the process. 2 of those 4 games in the section, as Carmichaels fell to Greensburg Central Catholic as those 2 section losses, as Caldwell is going to send this one over towards Rush, and he's not going to be able to have a clean play on it. So Caldwell will reach over to first base once again off of the E6. So Carmichaels, for its 3rd consecutive inning, has a base runner on, as Caldwell has been that 2 of those 3 times. Brayden Andrews will now step up to the plate for Carmichaels, the starting catcher today. He is the game's only run so far. He reached on his last time up via a single. And as the wind picks up, Wright will deal home, and this one missing just outside for ball 1. And Carmichael's trying to right the ship as they're looking for their 25th consecutive year to make the WPIAL playoffs. As there's on the outside looking in, Avella has already clinched here, but they'll still look to try to add on to a very impressive season, as that one's in upstairs for a strike off the swing and a miss. For head coach Jason Fogg, it's been clear that 12 wins is not enough. They still have some series to work through. They have Carmichaels today and tomorrow, and then 2 non-section games in the month of May to start off. As that pitch is blown away in the turf, and it's going to be a check down back at first over on Caldwell, but he will be safe on the throw over. It'll be a sliding play in for Caldwell, but he'll get back in time. This counts now down to 1-2.
They checked the swing on the bunt attempt. They ruled that Brayden Andrews didn't bring it back there to get the second strike for Wright.
Wright trying to get himself back into order, as he's going to force Andrews to sky this one out down the right field line, but it falls in foul territory out of play, so the count will stay at 1-2. Wright started the day with a 1-2-3 inning on Davis, Yazani, and LaPana. However, since then he hasn't had a 1-2-3 inning. He's still looking for the first one since that top of the first inning to kick it off. Carmichaels again scored their only run back in the second inning, so they hold on to the 1-0 lead, but now it's Braden Andrews trying to add on to that here in the top of the fourth inning. Wright's 1-2 pitch, skies up, outside of the zone, missing away, so the count will be even at 2.
You mentioned Wright hasn't had a clean inning since that first, but he has, however, had more efficient innings than Carmichaels as he came into this inning with 38 pitches compared to Maskill's 62. So more efficient for Wright, even though Carmichaels has 1 run across.
And now this one will be skied up from underneath from Andrews as this comes out to center field, and the catch will be made by Kimberland. So there is now 1 out for the Eagles to work with off the fly out. And now this brings up Owen Ray, who lined out over to Wright as one of the 2 Wright brothers here today to collect the first out of the second inning.
Easy out there for the Eagles. Noah Kimberland just had to take a couple steps to his left to make that catch. And Bryce Wright is right back on track here in the fourth.
Owen Wright comes up, entering today with a .235 batting average for the Mighty Mikes. Takes first pitch high and away for ball 1. In his 38 plate appearances, he's been able to register 6 runs off the 8 hits. He has 6 RBIs to his year. No home runs as of yet, but he now has a runner on first to deal with, an Elon Caldwell, who reached in off the error on of Rush over the shortstop position. 1-2 pitch finds its way in the zone for a strike, so the count will be even at 1. Ray again, his last time he lined out to Bryce Wright. Now the Wright's next pitch will be off a swing and a miss from Owen Ray, so now the count is quickly to 1-2, and now the Eagles trying to find themselves on the right path to get 2 quick outs here on the Mikes here in the top of the fourth inning. Wright checks over at first on Caldwell. He stays still. And now Wright will deal home. And that's a swing and a miss. Foul tip into the glove of Fuller, which means that'll be the second strikeout, or rather the third strikeout of the afternoon for Wright, and more importantly, 2 outs for the Eagles. Now they're bringing up Scott Masco, the one who brought in the game's only run here back in the second inning.
Scott Masco with another chance here to add on to his strong day after that single to the right side back in the second inning. Remember, he is on the mound, so anything he does helps his own case.
Every hit that has been registered today as Masco's first pitch he takes from right is inside for ball 1, has been towards the right portion of the field. Nothing has happened towards the left except for errors in on the infield. We've seen a handful of times for both sides having to play off of interesting hops in the dirt. But Masco looks to continue to add to the Carmichaels' wishes. That one's painted in on the inside corner for strike 1. Count will be even at 1. Scott Masco, if deemed there was a game MVP, he would be that for Carmichael so far today. He's been effective at the plate, holding Avella to no one getting past third bases. Masco's going to shoot one down the left field line. That's a base hit and gets out towards the wall. Carmichael's threatening as now you'll see it will be Caldwell rounding over to third base, and it'll be a stand-up double for Scott Masco. And Carmichael's now has 2 runners in scoring positions with the 2 outs.
Scott Masco continues his strong day. That was a laser beam to left field. Jordan Moore, the left fielder, had 1 chance to get it on a hop, but it was too quick, got by him, and therefore that will go as an easy double for Masco.
So now we will have a courtesy runner come in for the Mighty Mikes, one of the many privileges that comes with high school baseball. It'll be Kenan Bupka coming in, the senior outfielder, to pinch run at second base for Scott Masco. One of the rules in the WPIAL, the pitcher can always have a courtesy runner. Now, again, that is most of the time at the discretion of the umpires. That is a rule in the rule book where they are automatically allowed to do so. However, an umpire crew can take that away. I saw that just a week ago for Peters Township versus South Fayette. They wouldn't allow Carson Hathaway, their Trinity starting pitcher, to have a pinch runner in after having a leadoff double for himself. However, the rule in the rule book states you are allowed to do so. So that brings Bubka over to second base in replacement of Maskill, but there's 2 on with 2 outs, both runners in scoring position, and now Bryce Wright has some work he has to get through as he'll focus on Ryder Krieg.
Interesting note about Kenan Bubka. We've talked about multi-sport athletes. Another multi-sport athlete, as he was the quarterback for the Mikes this past season.
Yeah, you talked about in 1A schools, you see a lot of more multi-sport athletes because there aren't as many students to participate in the athletics in lower classifications, as that ball goes in, skips into the dirt for the even 1-1 count. Ryder Krieg, last time up, he found himself flying out in on the infield towards one of the Wright brothers in Gabe Wright. However, he was able to end the bottom of the 3rd inning on a really impressive ground out from his knees as he takes this 3rd pitch in low and away for ball 2. So the count will be up to 2-1. 3-0, excuse me. So now Krieg 1 ball away from finding the free pass and loading the bases for the Mighty Mikes in the process. He takes it high up and inside, and there it is. A bases-loaded situation, so the only free base to give, Bryce Wright will give away, and now it'll be Chase Ankrum up to the plate. And his last time up, he led off our top of the 3rd inning with a single, and that was a chance to bring home the more insurance for the Mighty Mikes. As Ankrum again singled his last time up. Coming into today, Ankrum batting .364 with 8 hits. He has 4 RBIs on his way, along with 3 doubles as well. As that first pitch finds its way into the zone for a strike. Tied for the most doubles on the team, along with Caldwell. Him and Caldwell are the only 2 with 3 doubles on the season for Carmichaels. This one's going to be shot down the right field line, but foul, so the count now quickly to 0-2. And all of a sudden, Bryce Wright's 1 strike away from getting out of a tricky top of the 4th inning.
Interesting here for Wright. Now that he's able to work back out of the windup, 2 quick strikes, maybe something there where he likes working out of the windup.
0-2 pitch comes home, and this one fouled off, so we'll do it again. It's, again, for those just tuning in, Krieg on first. It is Bubka on second and Caldwell on 3rd. Bryce Wright working here with a bases-loaded situation, bases full of Mikes. As now the 0-2 pitch will have to wait, as you'll see once again Wright step off from the mound. Carmichaels leads 1-0, but Bryce Wright trying to shut down that problem, and there it is, a swing and a miss. So a missed opportunity for the Mikes in the process, and it comes off of the 4th strikeout of the day for Bryce Wright. So there will be 3 runners left on off the no Avella errors. There was 1 hit in that inning and no runs scratched across. We carry on our 1-0 ball game into the bottom of the 4th here from Avella, Pennsylvania. Welcome back into Polar Star Field here in Avella, Pennsylvania. It's Carmichaels, the visiting team, up 1-0 here on the Eagles. And if we take a look back so far here in the standings coming into the year, we've talked about where people stand in playoff rankings, but we haven't really talked about the standings. It's Greensburg Central Catholic, the undefeated Spartans, sit 9-0 overall, 8-0 in section play. Avella just behind them at 12-5 overall with their 8-3 section record. Jefferson Morgan just about 15, 20 minutes away from the campus of Waynesburg University in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, sit 9-6 overall with a 6-4 conference record. Carmichael stands alone in fourth place, 5-8 overall, 4-4 section record. Then Jeanette, West Green, and Mapletown in that order go down as Jeanette, the only other team with a winning record overall, but no winning section record. They're 3-6 in the section. And then you see West Green and Mapletown round out those standings. As now in will be Maskell. First pitch, he gets a pop-up in from Jordan Moore, and he'll be able to handle the first pitch for an out for the second time in 3 innings. And now Carmichaels gets its first quick out, bringing up Luca Davis, the designated hitter for the Eagles.
Yeah, when you look at these other teams in the standings, Jeanette, they play Mapletown today and tomorrow, so Mapletown currently 0-8. If you assume a series sweep there, that moves them up to 5 section wins, 5-5 overall, and Carmichaels would need at least 1 win in the next 4 games to get there.
Yeah, Carmichaels so far looking in the right direction. Is if you keep winning, you don't have to worry about a lot of other outside help. However, they're put in this very sticky situation. Avella's 7-3 at home so far this year, as that's a swing and a miss for a second strike here at a quick 0-2 count. Avella overall statistically has had the better year. They're 7-3 when they're on the road, 5-2 at home. They're 9-5 though against common opponents between Carmichaels and Avella's. That's a 3-pitch strikeout in by Maskell. And all of a sudden, it's Carmichaels looking for its first 1-2-3 inning of the day. And it's set up by that 5th strikeout there by Maskell. Gabe Wright now steps up to the plate, the starting second baseman for the Eagles today. He has struck out his only time up here at the plate. And Maskell gets right to swing on the first pitch. He'll foul it off, so we'll start with a 0-1 count.
It hasn't been the Eagles going down looking. It's been them going down swinging. 4 out of the 5 strikeouts, all swinging for the Eagles. And Maskell's really been working that outside edge of the plate, and Avella has had no answer to it so far.
That's a pitch outside missing for Maskell, so it's an even 1-1 count now. Carmichaels again continuing to try to right the ship here in the latter half of their season to continue on and look into their postseasons. This one's high and inside, 2-1 count now from Maskell in on Gabe Wright. So far for Gabe Wright this season, having a 358 OPS, along with a 121 batting average. Not a lot to go along with it as the count now becomes 3-1, a hitter's count in favor for Gabe Wright. Wright has 4 singles on the year. That counts for all 4 of his hits. He doesn't have any home runs or RBIs to go along with his statistics as he takes a clean swing and a miss of that one for strike 2. And now the count will run full in on Gabe Wright. So for Maskell, trying to have his first 1-2-3 inning of the day here in the bottom of the 4th inning. He'll deliver. Here's the payoff pitch. Skied up out behind play, and this one will go out of play over towards the Carmichaels dugout, so we'll do the payoff pitch at least one more time. Jordan Moore popped up in on the infield towards Maskell, and then Maskell delivered via the swinging strikeout on Luca Davis to collect our first 2 outs here. However, for Gabe Wright, he's been able to work it to a full count. And Maskell is ready. No one on, 2 out. Payoff pitch. Soars home. Another one skied up in on the infield. This one out of foul territory towards the right side of the field, out near behind the softball dugout in the neighboring infield. So once again, we'll do it again.
Nice at-bat here by Gabe Wright. We mentioned he's only had 4 hits this season. When you work down this Avella Eagle lineup, it gets younger and younger. Jordan Moore, a sophomore, Luca Davis and Gabe Wright, both freshmen. So encouraging to see a competitive at-bat here out of the bottom of this Eagles lineup.
2 consecutive foul balls have continued on our full count, but it's Maskell trying to put down the Eagles in order. Payoff pitch. This one sent out to right field, and another one going to be sent into foul territories. That one over down the left field line. So 3 consecutive foul balls off the 3-1 original count, and we will stay full here as Maskell steps back onto the bump, ready to deliver home his 4th consecutive payoff pitch. Maskell set. Stands. He delivers. Strike 3! Sit him down. 2 strikeouts in the inning. In the 6th on the day, help Maskell get Carmichaels out of it. 1-2-3, they put up the Eagles, and they will head into the 5th inning with a 1-0 lead here at Polar Star Field. Back here at Polar Star Field here in Avella, Pennsylvania, it's the Mighty Mikes, the road team, up 1-0 here against the Avella Eagles as we transition ourselves into the top of the 5th inning as Bryce Wright comes out for his 5th consecutive inning of work. He's done majority of the pitching so far this year with his 2.33 ERA. He'll look to carry that on and continue to push to try and allow his team to stay in it as they still need 1 run, but first they need to put down Carmichaels here, starting with the top of the order in Jordan Davis. Davis so far 0 for 2 today. He's grounded out and flew out as Davis takes his first pitch in the dirt for a ball. And the last time Davis was up was actually the very impressive catch over towards the right side where he was caught out, flown out in foul territory. As Davis waits for the 1-0 pitch to come home from right, and here it is. This one's going to be sent. Another misplay, but it'll be quickly gathered by Rush to collect the first out. So another misplayed hop, but one that's able to be controlled and applies to a 6-3 ground out. So 2 pitches, 1 out for Bryce Wright so far, and the Eagles, as now this will bring up Dom Yazani, starting right fielder day for Carmichaels.
I mentioned it earlier, but the dirt can be hard here on the Polar Star Field. You've seen it, these last 3 ground balls to the left side where the first hop is bouncing a little bit higher than you usually expect it. You take one off the chest. Great job there by Rush to keep it in front.
That pitch floats its way right down Broadway for strike 1. Dom Yazani 0 for 2 today. He struck out his first time up and he grounded out his last. So looking for his first base hit of the ball game as Carmichaels only has the 1-0 lead. Still trying to find a little bit of insurance as we've entered the latter half of the ball game. Bryce Wright's upcoming pitch comes in high and away. Counts now even at 1-1. Bryce Wright 5-0, looking for win number 6 on the season. As that pitch finds its way into the zone now, it's quickly a 1-2 count again.
Bryce has been a focal point on this team for now his 4th season in a row, him being a senior. And he's really been pitching for this Avella Eagles team from the get-go. In his freshman year, it started out as more of a bullpen role, but then his sophomore year, he jumped in to the starting pitching role and was able to defeat Carmichaels in the playoffs.
So Wright was able to make the count 2-2 on a pitch inside, but that pitch finds its way in the zone for strike 3. So Bryce Wright now has his 5th strikeout in as many batters as well. He struck out 3 batters in his last 5 that he's seen. So now it's 2 up, 2 down, and Bryce Wright looking to put together the first 1-2-3 inning since the top of the first inning, and Connor LaPana will look to try to extend it for Carmichaels as he takes one out to left field, and that will be in for a base hit. Takes 2 hops right out in front of Moore. So the 1-2-3 inning is nothing but an afterthought now as Carmichaels has put another base runner on, and for 4 consecutive innings, they'll have some runners on the base pads. And that'll bring up now Elon Caldwell. He was the runner on third back when the bases were loaded in the top of the 4th inning, but they were stranded for Carmichaels.
For Carmichaels, it leads back to something we talked about before the broadcast, is this idea of small ball. We've seen Carmichaels attempt a couple of bunts today. That sort of made the difference back in the second because the bunt worked. That's how Braden Andrews got on first base. It didn't move the runner over because of the runner's interference, but that's how Carmichaels scored. So don't be afraid to see Carmichaels continue to bunt here in the 1-0 game as this one continues.
We'll continue to trek on as we're going to have a pinch runner back at first as well. Tyler Whipke comes in to pinch run for the Mighty Mikes as this one's going to be skied foul down the right field line by Caldwell. Count will now stay at 0-1 here on the first pitch.
Caldwell did reach on an error his last time up to the left side of the infield, and he eventually made his way to third base before Avella was able to stop the threat.
Caldwell 1 for 2 today, or rather 1 for 1. He had a single back in the second inning, and he did reach on an error back in the fourth inning. Caldwell now stands ready to go from the 0-1 pitch, and here it is from right. That's a swing and a miss. Another off-speed pitch gets away from Caldwell, and quickly it's an 0-2 count. And now Wright just one strike away from getting out of the fifth inning. Wright seeking his 59th strikeout on the season. Here it is, the 0-2 pitch. Floats just missing the left portion of the zone, so the count now will go up to 1-2. That one missed, but it was not by much.
He trusts his off-speed pitch so much, able to place it almost exactly where he wants it to, just a little bit high and outside for Wright.
Wright's 1-2 pitch. That one will be fouled off down the right field line, so we'll do the 1-2 pitch again.
I don't know how Caldwell hit that ball. It was so far inside, and he was able to fight it off the hands, and it was still foul, but it was quite impressive to see him able to push that ball the other direction with how far inside it was.
Caldwell now waits for his second 1-2 pitch. It'll be Wright checking over at first on Whipke, the pinch runner. But now he deals home. That one, there it is. That finds the zone, no doubt about that one. Strike 3. That is his 6th strikeout of the day for Wright. It'll be the second consecutive inning he has 2 strikeouts in an inning. And more importantly, they hold Carmichaels at bay. No runs off the one hit, no errors by the Eagles, and one Mighty Mike left on base. We've played through the top of the 5th inning. We'll transition to the bottom of the 5th here at Polar Star Field, where it's Carmichaels still up 1-0 on Avella. Welcome back under the tent. This is going to be an accurate description of us today here at Polar Star Field in Avella, Pennsylvania, as we'll be doing a home-and-home series here between the Mikes and the Eagles. Today, these two teams will continue to play on, and then they'll play tomorrow at 4:15 over in Carmichaels, Pennsylvania, more south here in the state of Pennsylvania. And it's Carmichaels looking to win both of those games as they need as many wins as they can in section to try to clinch a 25th consecutive playoff spot. Avella has already done so coming into today, and they'll look to try to add on to continue to better themselves as the first pitch to Kimberlin's going to be skied out to shallow right field. Coming in to make the play on it is Richards. He calls off Krieg, and there will be one pitch, one out for the Mighty Mikes. And Maskell, who has done a masterful job so far today, to limit the Avella Eagles to no runs.
Yeah, besides that first inning where the Eagles had the bases loaded, Maskell has been breezing through this one.
Yeah, Maskell so far today has done a really good job. The first inning, he saw 6 batters. Since then, he hasn't seen more than 4 in an inning as that pitch is low into the dirt for ball 1. Braden Fuller now steps to the plate. Fuller 0 for 2 today. He struck out in the first inning and grounded out in the second. This will be the first time he's seen the plate since that second inning, as Maskell's worked through 7 batters with no hits in his last 7 batters he's seen, as that pitch misses outside again for a 2-0 count. Really productive work here for the Mighty Mikes as they look to get back into the range of things as they handle Avella today and tomorrow, and then they also have one more section doubleheader before they have to worry about their last game of the year versus Beth Centers. That pitch finds his zone for a strike, 2-1 count. It's a home-and-home versus West Green on May 4th and 5th, and then it'll be a non-section game versus Beth Center before we then prepare for the WPIL playoffs. Maskell's 2-1 pitch goes high and inside. It's a 3-1 count, and a hitter's count in favor of Fuller. Fuller trying to find his way onto the base for the first time today as he steps back in to the box awaiting the 3-1 pitch from Maskell. Maskell delivers as this one's fouled off again, so the count goes from a hitter's count to being full. Braden Fuller trying to get the things going for Bryce Wright, a dangerous batter who has forced 2 walks today from Maskell. The only really blemish to his pitching stat line today has been those 2 walks. Those are also 2 of the 3 walks that Maskell has given today. But the payoff pitch to Fuller is going to be sent right down the right field line for a base hit. So Avella gets it going thanks to the Braden Fuller base hit. And now the Eagles have their first base runner on of the evening. And it'll be their first base runner since the bottom of the 3rd. Now that brings up the dangerous Bryce Wright, who comes into today as good as batting stats as any in 1A, as you'll see. Right, with a .447 batting average, well over a 1.215 OPS percentage. He has 21 hits on the year, including 1 triple and more notably 24 RBIs coming into today. So Maskell will set for his 3rd chance with Wright.
We're going to have a courtesy runner here for Braden Fuller. Alex Brandenburg, the senior for the Eagles, will be the courtesy runner for Braden Fuller at first base.
First pitch for Maskell in on right is found for a strike. Each of these teams not afraid to just deploy courtesy runners. Try to give their team the best odds to continue to advance on the base paths, as Avella has 1 out they have to work around here, and it's now an 0-1 count in on Bryce Wright. The pitch, this one shot inside, originally playing at normal depth was Richards, but he had to make a few steps in on it, so they retire Bryce Wright via a flyout. So now both outs have come thanks to the play in and right field and the work by Richards.
Wright finally gets a pitch to hit, just gets a tad under it. Easy routine flyout there for Richards. And now Avella running out of time here, just 7 outs remaining in the game for the Eagles.
Cameron Oln steps up. He's 1 for 2 today. He had a single back in the first, and he struck out his last time up in the 3rd inning. But before we get there, Maskell deals over to LaPana, checking in on the infield as everyone remains safe. So now the first pitch to Oln comes in, finds its way for a strike. The throw down to second will not be in time. It was one that was just outside, and a pretty good placement for they needed to make a tag in on what would be Bradenburg. Bradenburg will collect a stolen base for himself on the day. Bradenburg now puts himself in scoring position and is Avella's best chance to score since the bottom of the 3rd inning, back when Bryce Wright stood on 3rd base. But now back at home plate, it's Cameron Olin with the 0-1 count to work with. Maskell checks over to second base. And now he deals home. That one low in the dirt for ball one. Count will be even at 1. Olin not afraid to swing as he went out via the swinging strikeout his last time up. That next pitch from Maskell well outside in the opposing batter's box for ball 2. Counts out 2-1. Olin so far this year, he's batting .211. He has 8 hits on the year, but also has 8 RBI. Trying to bring home Bradenberg from second base, the pinch runner, as this one's going to be high and away. So the count now to 3-1, 3 consecutive balls from Maskell after the first pitch strike on Olin.
Maskell up to 88 pitches, so running out of time here for the Mikes.
Yeah, it's Chaz Rush on deck who would be next, and that's after the first pitch, 4 consecutive balls to walk Cameron Olin. So now we'll see what head coach Richard Krause will do with his pitcher. I mean, I can assume that they're going to let him by this go as close to the 100 as possible, let at least try to get out of the inning. There are 2 outs with 2 runners on, though. Braden Fuller led things off with the single. He then was replaced by Bradenberg, who stole second base, and now the walk to Cameron Olin comes, and we'll have a meeting at the mound, though. This is a pitching coach meeting, not exactly one you see otherwise from Richard Krause. So we'll see Maskell stay in the game for now. More of one that means going over a bit of a game plan. What's to come next is pitchers only allowed 100 pitches here in high school, and if you are facing a batter where you go over 100, it's fine as long as you finish on that batter. This also deems there will be at least 3 days of rest coming up for Maskell before he can pitch again. One of the many different rules in the WPIAL, a little bit different from what we see from college in any division or major leagues as well. But Maskell now has some work to do with Chaz Rush to the plate. That pitch just paints the inside corner for a strike. 0-1 count now on Rush. Rush 0 for 2 today. He struck out in the first inning and grounded out over to LaPana back in the third. This is the most batters that we'll see Maskell has faced since that first inning, and that one's going to bounce right in front of Richards as he's going to have to make a play from the infield. Cutting it off, trying to make a play in on the infield. It was Krieg. Unfortunately, his relay throw will not be in time, and Avella has tied up this ball game. It's now 1-1 thanks to the Chaz Rush RBI single.
Chaz Rush able to do a job there. Lines a base hit to the left side. We mentioned earlier, not a lot of action to the left side. The last couple hits, though, these players have really been able to pull the ball, gets it down in the gap. An aggressive send there by head coach Jason Fogg. And the courtesy runner, Brandenburg, able to cruise around and score and tie this game up at 1-1.
Unfortunately, Richard's throw, with or without the relay, I don't believe would have made it in time. More of on line in towards the ground and into the dirt rather than at home plate. But this brings up Tristan Davis to try to add on to the party. Davis 0 for 2 today. He's grounded out twice as he watches his first pitch for a strike. So Carmichaels collects 2 outs with just the 1 runner on. However, after a walk and an RBI single, we are tied at 1 here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
What an amazing baseball game, huh?
Oh, absolutely. This one, it has its fair share of what you require for both for both phases of the game to be interesting. It counts now even at 1 as that one was low in the dirt for ball 1. Maskell and Wright have put on very impressive innings. However, each have had just a handful of pitches gotten away from them that have led to each team scoring the only run. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, Davis takes ball 2. Let's see, it's a 2-1 count now on him, looking for his first hit of the day. Davis entering into today, batting .257. He has 9 hits with 6 RBIs to go along with his season statistics. That one finds the left third of the zone, so the count now will be even at 2-2 with 2 outs. It's Maskell trying to get himself out of the inning. Likely his last inning of work, unless the Carmichaels pitching staff deem he will try to get him to 100 pitches. More or less, though, Maskell with a 2-2 pitch. Forces one to be grounded up the middle. Making a play on it is Ray, who gets it over to LaPena in time for the 4-3 ground out. However, Avella does strike and tie our ball game at 1. With the 1 run, they were able to collect 2 hits along the way. No errors by the Mighty Mikes, and 2 runners were left on base. We transition into the top of the 6th inning. It's a tie ball game here in Avella, Pennsylvania. Welcome back to Polar Star Field. Things have gotten a lot interesting after our bottom of the 5th inning, where Avella was able to tie the ball game at 1 after having a 1-0 deficit since the top for the 2nd inning. We now transition to the top of the 6th inning. Bryce Wright will come back out to continue on his 6th inning of work. He's sitting in a pretty good spot pitch count-wise to not have to be forced to rush anything, as his first player he will go off against will be against Braden Andrews, as Andrews fouls one down the right field line for strike 1. Andrews doing the catching today. He was the Carmichaels' only run back in the 2nd inning. He also flew out his last time up in the 4th.
Wright sitting at 77 pitches after that one, so still plenty to go here, especially if Avella wants to run him out for the 7th inning as well.
That next pitch low into the dirt for ball 1. Count will be even at 1 in the process. We talked about Carmichaels and their 4-game losing streak. However, it's Avella who's been losers of 3 of their last 4 and only winners of 2 of their last 5, as that next pitch comes in for a ball. Count will be up to 2-1 now in favor of Andrews. Wright wastes no time and sends the next pitch home low and into the corner, rather, painting just about the bottom edge, so the count's now even at 2-2. Wright with his upbeat tempo and his pitching style set, and he'll deal home the 2-2 pitch. That one's going to be sent over towards Wright, and he'll make the misplay off the dirt, and that's one skips away to the wall, but it'll be Andrews who elects just to stay at first off of the E4. So that'll be the 2nd error scored here by the Avella Eagles. And speaking of errors, Carmichaels is very appreciative so far, as they're coming off a game themselves where one too many errors that they were not too proud of.
And you saw Gabe right there on that play. He decided to stay high and get his body into the ball to make sure it didn't get by him, but it still trickled just a little bit too far, not able to get that out there.
First pitch by Ray is down in the dirt for ball 1. Carmichaels had 10 errors in their last time in against Uniontown, where they lost that game 12-3. They were only out hit by 1. It was 8-7 in terms of hits. However, the 10 errors did add up, as a bunt attempt by Ray is unsuccessful. He fouls that one off, so the count it becomes even at 1.
Reminder for this game that Carmichael's searching for their 25th straight playoff berth. An out-of-town score update. Jeanette defeated Mapletown 16-0. So Jeanette up to 4 wins now, the same amount as Carmichael. So if Carmichaels lose this game, they're going to be tied in the section standings.
As another one will be fouled off here by Ray, as the count now goes down to 1-2. For Carmichaels, you keep winning. You don't have to worry about any out of control of yourself and teams of other teams having to win to help give you a chance. Carmichaels, as of right now, still controls their own destiny, but that means they do have to win in the process, and they have themselves a tie ball game here against section opponent Avella, as now it is a 1-2 count in on Owen Ray. Ray will take that 3rd pitch fourth pitch up high for ball 2. Count's going to be even at 2-2. Ray 0 for 2 today. He's lined out his first time up in the second, and he struck out his second time up in the fourth inning. He was the third of 6 strikeouts so far today from Bryce Wright, who now sits and ready for trying to find his 60th strikeout, and there it is, and there'll be a stolen base in the process by Andrews. He gets through on a throw that's well over top of second baseman Wright into play on it, more specifically to give you Gabe Wright. As Avella also has 2 sets of brothers here in their starting lineups today. Is after that, it was a strikeout for Owen Ray, so Bryce Wright collects his 60th strikeout of the season and 7th of the ball game. However, now there is a runner in scoring position for Carmichaels, as we'll have a meeting of the minds for Avella on the mound.
Pitching coach Terry Jacobs is going to come out, take a conversation with the guys, especially after that last play. You could hear head coach Jason Fogg from the dugout not happy with kind of the lack of effort out of the middle infield to get there and cover the base on that stolen base attempt, as Andrews was able to just get there cleanly. Rush was about to get the ball, but gets under his glove because he was late to the base. It was a free stolen base for Carmichaels.
Hey, Coach Richard Krause takes advantage, and he'll talk to his batter now, Scott Maskill. Maskill, starting pitcher today, has done a fabulous job thus far. Just the one run to be the blemish on his day so far, as he will be intentionally walked, as now this will bring up Ryder Krieg, as Ryder Krieg 0 for 1 today. He flew out his first time up.
It's not often you see the intentional walk in baseball, even less often out of head coach Jason Fogg. This is something he does maybe once a year out of everyone that these Eagles will face. Usually it's something that he pulls out in the playoffs, but today he decides to use it right now on Maskill.
Yeah, Scott Maskill came into this at bat 2 for 2 with a single and a double, along with that RBI, bringing in Carmichael's first and only run. But Maskill will not stay on the base pads as Tyler Whipke, or rather, not, it'll be Cannon Bupka out to pinch run once again, and this will be one shot down the left field line. That's a base hit for Carmichaels. It'll be Andrews rounding third, going in the slide at home. It'll be a stand-up RBI double for Ryder Krieg. So the intentional walk does not pay off, and Carmichaels in the process now leads 2-1.
Able to ambush there on the first pitch. Ryder Krieg shoots it right down the line under Cam Ullum's glove. A stand-up double. Easy peasy for Krieg. And Carmichael's back on top even after they had lost it. You know, Avella had finally battled back in the last half inning, finally able to score, and Carmichaels responds instantly.
So Chase Ankram's first pitch is up high off the backstop. Luckily, more in on the infield, so both runners will stay at second and third, being Bupka and Ryder Krieg at second and third. Carmichaels in the ensuing inning, as Chase had just alluded to, has broken open the ball game again, breaking the tie just a half inning later after Avella had tied it at 1. It's Carmichaels leading now 2-1 with Chase Ankram up to the plate, and he fouls another one off quickly, and this will be a 1-1 count in on Ankram. Ankram 1 for 2 today. He had a single back in the third inning, and he struck out his last time up in the fourth. Carmichaels has 2 section home and home series left to work with. This one against Avella and another one versus West Green. They have a little bit of an easier ending of their season rather than where they were just a couple of games ago, but they need to handle their business first and collect a win, and they're doing so. Here is Ankram's going to send one down the right field line, out in, and that one falls just on the inside corner near the line, and Ankram stands in at first, and he'll take off to second off an errant throw. In the process, it will be Bupka who scored from third. Krieg is able to advance to third, and all of a sudden Carmichaels is now up 2 with a 3-1 score off the Ankram RBI single.
Ankram able to inside out that pitch just inside of the right field line, and Carmichael's able to string together multiple hits here, out on 2 runs. Bryce Wright running out of time in this game, and move to the pen here soon, especially with just one out here in the 6th.
Wright came into the inning with just 76 pitches, and now this one's going to be skied out to right center field. Tracking back and making the catch will be Jeffers. However, with only the one out there, a tag will be applied in for Craig, and Craig is able to go home. And in the process, you'll see Ankrum tag from go to second to third. So Carmichaels now in the process, 3 runs scored off now from the sacrifice fly from Jordan Davis.
Once again, nice hitting there by Carmichaels. They've turned to just kind of ambush tactics against Wright here, often swinging at the first or second pitch, and great success here in this inning, able to score 3 runs and take a commanding lead.
Bryce Wright's first pitch on Dom Uzani here of this at-bat goes high and away. Uzani 0 for 3 today. He struck out twice and grounded out once. Looking at my notes, Uzani's one of 2 players left of this Carmichael starting lineup who hasn't found his way onto the base pads yet. He, as well as it looks to be Owen Ray, are the only 2 players on this Carmichael's team who have yet to find their way on base. However, it's Carmichael still with the 4-1 lead as this one will be fouled off by Uzani, and now the count is down to 1-2. Wright came into the inning with a 1-1 tie and only 76 pitches, looking in control of this game. However, this one has quickly gotten away from Avella as they're in a 3-run deficit. Wright's 1-2 pitch, though, is going to be sent out to left center field, and that's a base hit. Carmichael tacks on its 5th run here in the ballgame, 4th of the inning, and Dom Uzani now stands on first base with an RBI single, helping Carmichaels continue to bury the Eagles here in this 6th inning.
Once again, another great piece of hitting. This time they don't go the opposite way. They go to that pull side, shoots it, just flares it over the shortstop Rush's head. The left fielder Moore playing way too deep, couldn't get there. 5-1 Mikes.
So that first pitch by Wright is low and away in on LaPana. LaPana 1 for 3 today. He singled his last time up in the 5th inning. Now LaPana stands in with just a runner on first base, as that one misses inside for ball 2. Carmichaels has brought home all 3 runners that have reached on before Uzani. Uzani is now the one who stands on first base. Carmichaels enters into this inning stranding 6 runners. However, they have taken full advantage here in the top of the 6th inning as it's the Mikes up 5-1 over Avella, and that's now a 3-0 count in on LaPana, and you start to wonder how much longer this day for Bryce Wright will continue.
He's about to cross this is going to be his 100th pitch, so last batter no matter what now for Bryce Wright.
So LaPana stands in, and he'll check up over at first base on Uzani, who gets back safe on the head-first slide. It's a 3-0 count. If the out were to be collected, that would complete 6 innings of work, but that won't be the case as it's a 4-pitch walk in on LaPana, which also means it will be the end of the day for Bryce Wright. We'll have to see who's going to come in for substitution for the Avella starting pitcher.
Maybe right now, maybe my math was wrong. No movement out of the dugout for the Eagles, so maybe he was at 99. That could have been his 99th. My apologies on that one. But now 2 runners on, so this will definitely be Bryce Wright's last batter.
With or without the math, Bryce Wright's going to try to get himself out of the inning to go 6 innings. However, he's been giving quite the struggle so far with the Mighty Mikes scratching across 3 innings, or rather 4 runs here in this 6th inning. And now Elon Caldwell steps to the plate, now deeming the Carmichaels the official term of batting around here in the 6th inning as well. Caldwell, the last Mighty Mike, up to the plate as he'll take this first pitch in the dirt, but he swings and misses for strike 1. Braden Andrews kicked off the scoring. He reached on via an error in from Gabe Wright. From there, he was able to score. Maskill, Krieg, and Ankrum as well are the other 3 runs that come across for Carmichaels as that pitch is low in the turf for ball 1. Counts now even at 1-1. Caldwell, the designated hitter today, he's 1 for 3 on his day. As this one will be grounded over to right, he handles it and shuffles it over to Davis to get the final out. But again, not before we see 4 more runs come across. This game is broken wide open for Carmichaels. It's a 5-1 ball game, transitioning into the bottom of the 6th here at Polar Star Field. Welcome back into the broadcast as Maskell will come out for his 6th inning of work. Doesn't look like he'll be able to finish the inning due to a pitch count. However, he will kick us off here in the bottom of the 6th inning as the Mighty Mikes were able to score 4 runs in the top of the 6th inning to give themselves a 5-1 score of where we are right now. For Avella, they were able to get their first run of the game back in the bottom of the 5th. It was Braden Fuller who was the one who scored in off of the RBI single from Chaz Rush. Avella looks to try to, at the very least, cut down the deficit, as they will have the bottom of the 7th to work with if they are still losing entering into the 7th inning, as we'll now see Scott Maskell come back up onto the mound to get back to work for Carmichaels, and the first batter he will face will be Jordan Moore. Moore 0 for 2 today. He's flown out and popped out. As Maskell now stands ready to deal off of the bump. Maskell will step off, and we'll still wait for that first pitch.
Yeah, Coach Jason Fogg just having a conversation with first base coach and pitching coach Terry Jacobs, trying to find something to get back in this game, and he jogs back over to his spot there, and we're back underway here in the bottom of the 6th.
So Maskell now stands ready to deal home to Jordan Moore. Moore takes his first pitch for a strike right down Broadway. We talked in the beginning, now there's only one Mighty Mike who has not found his way onto the base pads. And for the Avella Eagles, there are also 3 runners who have not found their way onto the base pads in Tristan Davis, Jordan Moore, and Gabe Wright. Moore is the one up to bat now, and we will see Gabe Wright here in this inning as well, as he's a part of the minimum that Carmichaels will have to deal with. Maskell's next pitch up high and upstairs. So now the count will, or rather it will be deemed a strike, just gets the top of the zone. It'll be a 1-2 count. As Maskell sends his 1-2 pitch home, and this one's going to be sent right into the glove of the charging Craig over towards the second base bag. So now Carmichaels collects its first out with Luka Davis coming up, and that will be the final batter that Scott Maskell will deal with. As Richard Krause comes out, and it will be a fair round of applause to come in for Maskell as he will make his way out into the infield. Coming into pitch now will be number 19, Dominic Yazani, coming into pitch in relief. You now have to wonder who then comes into right field.
Looks like Maskell made his way out to right field, so just the straight 1-to-1 swap for the Mikes. After Maskell was quite masterful through 5 1/3 innings today. Just the 1 run allowed. The Eagles scattered 4 hits throughout the game. But to be honest, Maskell just kind of had everything you wanted working today. And now, because of the pitch limit, Carmichaels has to move in the next direction. So Dominic Yazani comes in. It's going to be his 9th appearance of the season. He sits at a 1-1 record, 14 innings pitched so far, a 4.5 ERA, 19 strikeouts to 13 walks for Yazani. And he's going to have to face the 8-batter in Luca Davis, the 9-batter in Gabe Wright at the minimum.
Yeah, you said it, masterful by Maskill. That is absolutely then the phrase today is he did just that, except for the first inning where he had to face 6 batters. He's been able to keep a lot of things under control for himself. The one other run, the run was scored back in the bottom of the 5th inning for Avella, but the one-on-one switch will send Maskill out to right field and Yazani in onto the mound to pitch for the Mighty Mikes. They're up 5-1 here in the bottom of the 6th inning, and they are just 5 outs away from heading back to Carmichaels tomorrow with a key section win over section opponent Avella, who as well is in a little bit of a rough patch themselves, losing 3 of their last 4. Only one of those last 3 losses as well has been deemed, only the one win they have in that process was by 1 run. Their last 3 losses have come via a 5-run difference, a 13-run difference, and a 7-run difference. This one is not that high, but it's still worked to a 4-run difference between the Mikes and Eagles.
And when you take a look at the standings, although the Mikes sit at 4-4 right now, if they win out these 4 section games, they will jump all the way up to 2nd place in Section 1 of Class A. And any little seeding bump helps, especially when that Section 3 it's really good with Eden Christian, Bishop Canavan, and Sarah Catholic. So anytime you can jump up a spot, jump up a seed, it's a great victory for your ball club.
So Yazani's first pitch goes inside on Luca Davis. A little too close for comfort as it counts out up to 1-0. And Sarah Catholic, the team that defeated the Carmichael Mikes in the 1A WIPUL championship game almost a year ago, lost 9-0, and the Mighty Mikes were no hit in the process. Is trying to flip the script, if you will, in here as Luca Davis fouls one off. Count will be even at 1-1 with the 1 out.
It was a tough break for Carmichaels last year when they got to the championship and had to face Sarah Catholic and Tyler Skaggs, who threw the no-hitter in that game. Sarah Catholic was coming off a run to the 2A title game and where they won Double-A the year before, I believe. So it was just a tough look for Carmichaels, especially against an arm like Tyler Skaggs.
That pitch misses outside for the 2-1 count now on Luca Davis. Luca Davis 0 for 1 today in his 2 plate appearances. He did reach in on an error back in the 2nd inning as that pitch will miss again. So the count's now in favor of Luca Davis with the 3-1 count. Yazani's first 4 pitches, with 3 of which have been balls, missing outside on the zone. That 1 strike was off a foul ball. As now Yazani's 3-1 pitch will come in, and another one inside, and that's a free pass to Luca Davis.
Another great at-bat there by Luca Davis is his 2nd walk of the game. 2 walks and a strikeout for Davis, and when a new pitcher comes in, you really want to see him, feel him out, figure out what he's going to do. So a great at-bat there to start this, getting the line moving for the Eagles here. As they trail by 4, you got to get these runners on, especially with the next batter being the leadoff hitter.
Gabe Wright's going to send one out to left field, and Richards is in to make the play there. So he shuts that down quickly and gives Carmichaels a 2nd out of the inning. So Gabe Wright will now sit down 0 for 3 so far today in his game. And this flips us over to the top of the order. Noah Kimberlin steps up to the plate. He is 1 for 2 himself in 3 plate appearances. He singled in the 1st, he was walked back in the 2nd, and then he flew out back in the 5th inning. Funny enough, his 4 plate appearances we've seen today, they will both come in consecutive inning increments. As this first pitch by Yazani right down Broadway for strike 1.
It's tough now for Avella because you have your leadoff guys on, or your leadoff hitter up right now, but there's 2 outs in the inning, and you have just 4 outs left in the game, and you trail 4 runs.
This will be a clean swing and a miss by Kimberlin, so the count now to 0-2, and Yazani 1 strike away from projecting Carmichaels into the top of the 7th inning to try to add a little bit more insurance before they'd have to deal with Avella in the bottom of the 7th inning as Carmichael's up 5-1 here in Avella, Pennsylvania, as that pitch by Uzani's upstairs, 1-2 count now, so we'll have at least one more pitch to extend the inning. Uzani now stands in, ready, and he'll deal home. This one's going to be skied up in on the infield. It's Ray running over, ranging to make the catch, and it was bobbled in. Looked to be originally caught, however, on his way down from catching it, he wasn't able to hold on to it all the way. So Avella now has 2 runners on off of the error.
Another unfortunate break that goes the way of the Eagles. A routine pop-up straight up in the sky. Ray got over, camped under it with plenty of time, but just hits off the glove. And Avella has 2 runners on and 2, 3, 4 coming up.
Braden Fuller steps to the plate. 1 for 3 today. He is Avella's only run that is scored today. As that first pitch misses outside for a ball, and I will correct myself as there was a pinch runner in. It was Alex Bradenberg who technically has the run. However, he came in when Braden Fuller was able to get on via the single just an inning ago.
Mound visit here for Carmichaels. As, you know, after the walk to Luka Davis, an error, it's easy to get in your head as this inning continues to drag. It's a 4-run lead, but with 2 runners on, that lead can quickly be cut in half.
Yeah, and what you don't want to do is have to face Bryce Wright. They were able to retire Bryce Wright an inning ago with a fly out to left field. However, lightning doesn't always strike twice, as Bryce Wright has been Avella's best batter so far this year, and with him on deck, you want to try to hold him to be the leadoff runner to kick off the 7th inning to limit as much damage as possible. As Richard Krause now makes his way back out to his dugout, and he'll allow Yazani to work in on Braden Fuller with the 1-0 count he has so far.
Fuller had that base hit last time. One of the best guys you want up here because you know he's going to grind out an at-bat for the Eagles.
Yazani's 1-0 pitch comes in. This one's going to be skied foul. This one soars back over to the neighboring softball field and actually deflects off of a tree. So the count will be even at 1-1 for Yazani. Now finds himself 2 strikes away from, again, helping push Carmichaels into the 7th inning with its 5-1 lead over Avella. Carmichaels trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. They haven't won since April 8th as the pickoff attempt back at second is no good. Luka Davis gets back safe, head first slide. Yeah, Carmichaels has a 10-2 loss, a 5-2 loss, a 5-3 loss, and then a 12-3 loss in the process. So in that time span, 32 runs have been allowed by the Mighty Mikes. However, today, limiting Carmichaels to just the 1. Izani trying to help his cause. The 1-1 pitch comes in, and that one's a clean swing and a miss to Fuller. And now Yazani just 1 strike away.
Fuller just losing his head a little bit with that swing. Got the pitch he wanted. It was right down the middle. His eyes brightened up. Got the pitch he wanted. Just swung a little too hard, a little too fast. Pulls his head. 2 strikes.
Yazani's pitch comes in. This one's sent out to right field, and Maskill takes 3 steps in to make the catch, and that will retire the side. Avella comes up just short once again, stranding 2 base runners. There was the 1 error by the Mighty Mikes. No hits in that inning, and more importantly for Carmichaels, no runs allowed as they transition to the 7th inning, where it's Carmichaels up 5-1 on Avella.
Welcome back to Senior Day 2026 here from the Polar Star Field in Avella, Pennsylvania for this Class 1A Section 1 matchup between the Avella Eagles and the Carmichaels Mikes. 5-1, Carmichaels currently have a commanding lead over the Eagles, and Avella forced to go into their bullpen, and by go to the bullpen, I mean go to their catcher, Braden Fuller. So Braden Fuller going to come in to the mound for the Eagles, and Bryce Wright is going to flop with them and go head to the catcher position for Avella.
So, not a common switch. You don't usually see your catcher come in to pitch and your pitcher go now to catch. Traditionally, it's someone in on the infield or the outfield, not usually the one who's behind the plate.
So for Fuller, it's going to be his 7th appearance of the season. He currently has a 1-0 record, just 11.2 innings pitched, a 5.4 ERA, has 2 saves for the Eagles this season. Doesn't matter right now because not in a save situation, but could still, in theory, pick up the W. 13 strikeouts to 10 walks for Braden Fuller. The Avella defensive lineman will stay the same besides that flip-flop of Fuller and Wright. Wright's throw down to second, and we're going to be back underway here for the top of the 7th from the Polar Star Field. Fuller, also a senior, also on the basketball team. Played shooting guard for them, was best known for his passing, however, as he made some truly masterful passes in basketball season during some of the days that I was announcing for Avella then. And now he gets to pitch to another basketball player. Bryce Wright is a 1,000-point scorer for the Eagles as well. So Fuller now in to face Carmichaels. OO is going to be in there for a strike, and we're underway here in the 7th with Avella trailing 5-1. Braden Andrews leading off for the Mike says that next pitch is going to be fouled back for strike 2. 0-2 now. Fuller working quickly ahead against Braden Andrews. Fuller from the windup. Brings his glove in front of his face, kicks and fires. It's going to be grounded, foul down the third base line, as the count will remain 0-2. Braden Andrews having a very successful day for the Mikes. Reached on an infield base hit and a walk. Has scored 2 runs for the Mikes, as that next pitch is going to be in for a ball. Count moves to 1-2. 1-2 from Fuller to Andrews. Line deep into left field. Jordan Moore steps back a couple of steps. Camps under it for the first out of the inning. And there's one gone here in the top of the 7th. Carmichael's still leading 5-1.
Yeah, that's one step closer. Again, just trying to get through each player here in this rotation between Andrews, Ray, and Maskill. And now we'll be curious to see how Avella is able to continue to handle on in their defensive business, as they need to get themselves back behind the plate where they can be the ones trying to score some runs.
First pitch to Ray is going to be swung through and missed. Strike 1. Fuller with 2 first pitch strikes to his first 2 batters. Next pitch fouled back into the fence. 0-2 once more. Fuller seems like he's working a little bit quicker than some of the other pitchers we have seen today. Working to 0-2 for back-to-back batters. 0-2. Ball low outside, blocked by Bryce Wright. Now catching. Count moves to 1-2. 1-2 from Braden Fuller to Ray. Way outside for ball 2. Fuller comes set for the 2-2. Down in the dirt once more, 3-2. So quick 2 strikes out of Braden Fuller. 3 straight off-speed pitches for balls. We'll see what the coaching staff decides that they want Fuller to throw here. 3-2 from Fuller to Ray. Popped up, right field. Jeffers ranging in, It's going to drop. Foul ball, says the home plate umpire, and we'll play on here in the 3-2 count.
Seeing that a few different times so far today. A ball has just gotten underneath a lot of these players and scat out towards that right field line, kind of the area in between first and the right fielder.
So the 3-2 once more from Fuller to Ray. Popped up again, right field. 3 Eagles charging it. It's going to be down, and it's going to be foul, and we're going to do it once more. A little bit of deja vu here, as almost the exact same spot on that foul ball by Owen Ray. He's the only Carmichaels batter to not reach yet today, and this is going to be potentially his last opportunity to do so. 3-2 in the dirt, ball 4. So now it's going to be Ray on first, his first time reaching base today. And now every Carmichaels batter has reached. And Fuller will have to face Scott Masco, who was intentionally walked in his last plate appearance, but is 2 for 2 with a single and a double. He grounds the first pitch foul down the third base line, 0-1.
Yeah, Maskell's he's been every bit of it today, and he's definitely been able to lead the charge with a great pitching effort to keep his team into it. He's also 2 for 2, got the intentional walk, and was able to score the third of 5 runs for Carmichaels.
Maskell doing kind of what we expected from Bryce Wright coming into this game, able to do it with both the arm on the mound and the bat in the box. So he's well on his way to making some headlines in tomorrow's recaps when the Trib does them in the Post-Gazette. You can bet you'll see Scott Maskell's name in those. 0-1 here, Fuller to Maskell, in there for strike 2 on the curveball. Count moves to 0-2. So Fuller has now reached 0-2 to the first 3 batters he faced. Last time he lost him to a walk. Fuller comes set, 0-2. It's going to be way outside. Runner takes off for second. Wright decides to put it in his pocket on the wild pitch. So Ray moves up to second, and it's going to be runner on second, Owen Ray, with 1 out, and Scott Maskell up to the bat with 1-2 count.
It's a safe option. It's a smart option, so good work there by Wright to hold on to it, not try to force the throw down to second to advance the runner any more than second base.
Oh, a hard ground ball off the second baseman, Gabe Wright. Runner's going to break for the plate. He's in easily. And Carmichaels extends their lead by 5. It's 6-1.
Really good work off the advantage of miscommunicated play off of the error in by Wright. Now that opens up the door for Carmichaels again to add on more insurance.
Another hard hit ball right at an Eagle defender that just skips off the glove, trickles way too far away, and an easy run for the Mikes. So Scott Maskell does it again. It's his 4th time reaching base today. As the 0-0 to Krieg is going to be down in the dirt for ball 1. Fuller was doing a great job working ahead, but Carmichael was able to ground out some at-bats. Second pitch outside, ball 2. 2-0 now the count. Maskell on first. Can no longer have the courtesy runner run for him because he moved from pitcher to right. Next pitch is in there for strike 1.
Yeah, if it was off the inside corner, also a check swing to go along with it, so Craig put himself in a little bit of a rough position, but he's sitting pretty right now, not having to force to be making a lot of plays, even if he isn't able to get on base. Carmichael's done a good job so far of doing that.
Craig gonna foul it back into the fence. Count moves to 2-2 now. Fuller against Ryder Krieg. And Krieg hit that double last inning, which made it a 3-1 ball game before he came around and scored on the next base hit by Ankrum. That pitch is in there, called strike 3. Braden Fuller picks up his first strikeout of the night. And there's 2 outs now in the 7th.
off-speed magic there. Floats right down Broadway, able to find itself dead center right where Fuller wanted to get that pitch. And now he gives his team another out closer towards being able to try to cut away at a 5-run deficit.
So 2 outs now in the 7th. Carmichael's up 6-1 over the Avella Eagles. First pitch is in the dirt, and it's going to pop over Wright's head, and an easy route to second for Maskill. And now there's going to be a runner on second. That's Maskill with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Fuller on the mound. Chase Ankrum now at the plate. And a 1-0 count.
Yeah, Ankrum was the 5th of now 6-run score for the Mighty Mikes. And his last time up, he also had an RBI single to bring home Ryder Craig.
Time called by the batter. Fuller working ahead in the count for the first 3 batters. Fell behind Krieg, but was able to battle back and strike him out. The 1-0. In the dirt again, but blocked by Wright. No harm, no foul. 2 balls, no strikes. Fuller made the transition from catcher to pitcher. He was responsible for the only run Avella has after a base hit. As that pitch is going to be flared into right, it's down for a base hit. Maskill coming in. Throw will go to the cutoff man, and it's 7-1 Carmichaels.
Yeah, now Maskill takes the rounding to third, and it's an RBI single for Chase Ankrum again in consecutive at-bats for himself. And all of a sudden, Carmichael's really opening this one up wide for themselves in a game they had to win to keep their season alive.
Not many hard hits in this inning, but they're just finding the right spot as Carmichael is able to add 2 in this top of the 7th. First pitch is going to be a ball to the leadoff man, Jordan Davis. Davis now batting in his 3rd consecutive inning. Not often you can say that in a baseball game. 1-0, Fuller to Davis. Grounds it to the second baseman, Wright, who knocks it down, throws on to first for the 3rd out of the inning. So Carmichael scores 2 runs on 1 hit, couple walks and error. 1 man left on base. We head to the bottom of the 7th with the Eagles trailing 7-1. Back here in the bottom of the 7th, the Avella Eagles trail the Carmichaels Mikes 7-1 here on Senior Day. Avella came into this game ahead in the standings with a 7-3 conference record to the Mikes 4-4. However, Carmichaels has been the better team through and through today. Too many errors on the defensive side of the ball for Avella and not enough base runners on the offensive side. So Carmichaels in pole position to close out this game here on this Monday afternoon. The first game of a home-and-home series. Avella trails by 6. It's going to be 3-4-5 for them. Bryce Wright, Cameron Ullum, Chaz Rush, as they look to try to do something here. The lone run for Avella scored in the bottom of the 5th inning after a Braden Fuller single, followed up by a courtesy runner. Alex Brandenburg stole second base, and then Chaz Rush drove him in. Tom Yazani still on the mound for his 2nd inning of relief of the starter Scott Maskill. Bryce Wright steps in the box, and we're underway here in the 7th with Yazani to right. Ball 1 in the dirt. Wright 2 walks and a fly out to left in this one. Hasn't had that many pitches to hit so far today, as that fly out to left was one of the only pitches he's seen in the strike zone. 1-0 to right. Grounds it foul down the third base line. Count moves to 1-1. Yazani, it was a clean, relatively clean bottom half of the 6th. He walked a batter. Then it was an error on the second baseman before he was able to end the threat. So 1-1 here from Yazani. Grounded to the shortstop, Krieg. Krieg knocks it down, throws on to first to LaPena. Easy 6-3 put out. 1 out here in the 7th. Carmichaels just has to get 2 more outs, and they'll be well on their way to qualifying to the playoffs here as they wind down their 2026 season.
Yeah, and it all starts by a great defensive effort on a team that hasn't been able to score a lot of runs, so you don't want to kind of be the team that allows Avella to get back on track, as this is a team that is a 12-win team compared to yours, just 5 overall. So really good work by Carmichaels to kind of right themselves.
First pitch to Cam Ullum's going to be upstairs. Cam Ullum reached base twice today. It was an infield single back in the 1st and a walk in the 5th. So the 1-0 from Yazani to Ullum. Outside for a ball, 2-0. Very patient at the plate is Cam Ullum, one of these guys who just likes to grind out at bats, makes the pitcher work, and it's a great asset to have here in the later stages of the ball game. Yazani offers. In there for strike 1, count moves to 2-1. Dominic Yazani in relief of Scott Maskill, who had a masterful performance today. Yazani, remember, 1-1 coming into this game with a 4.5 ERA. 2-1 to Ullum. Swung and missed. Lost his head there, and count moves to 2-2. Eagles trail by 6. It's 7-1 here in the bottom 7th of Senior Day here at the Polar Star Field in downtown Avella. The 2-2. Shot the other way for a base hit. Inside out on the pitch, and Ullum picks up his second hit of the game, and Avella has some life here with 1 out in the 7th.
Yeah, good work. Stay with it. Don't allow yourself to stay down in the count. Utilize what you can. Ullum takes it opposite field, is able to get on a first, and now potentially could help Avella find their spark here in the bottom of the 7th inning with just 2 outs remaining.
That's going to bring up Chaz Rush, but first a mound visit and a pitching change. So it looks like a host of changes for the Mikes. We're going to have Yazani go back out to right field. That's going to start. We're going to see Ray going from second to shortstop, I believe. We're going to see, looks like Ryder Krieg head to the mound for the Mikes. And Maskill moves to second for the Mikes. So quite a host of changes for Carmichaels, but head coach Richard Krause doesn't want anything to get out of hand here. So 3 base runners allowed by Yazani before head coach Krause decides to make a move, and Ryder Krieg's going to start throwing some warm-up tosses with Chaz Rush coming up to the plate shortly for the Eagles.
Yeah, for you and I, it's interesting. It's almost hard to not call him Professor. If we've been trained to do so almost instinctively through the process. So this is it's very unique territory for me.
Yeah.
I've almost stumbled a few different times, having to change myself and catch myself as he's in coach mode, not professor mode.
Yeah, and it's interesting for me. I have connections to both sides of these teams, with Richard Krause being my professor and our head of department, so somebody we have to deal with on a daily basis, talk to on a daily basis, and then Jason Fogg and the Avella Eagles, my alma mater, a team that I know very near and very dear to my heart.
So let me ask you this, as someone who was a former athlete, is it still coach, or have you graduated to a more formal title? Is it just a last name, just a first name, or is...
Anytime I see him, I call him coach. It's never really Coach Fogg because I always called him coach, but some of the other coaches, so the pitching coach, Terry Jacobs, I always call him Coach TJ, but it's also an interesting relationship there because one of his kids is like one of my best friends. So connections all over the place in this one. My last plug will be that I am on that 2024 team that beat head coach Richard Krause and stopped him from going to the state playoffs. But Ryder Krieg finishes his warm-ups. Chaz Rush gets in the box. Cameron Olam on first base. 1 out here in the 7th, and Avella trailing 7-1. Krieg kicks and fires. Ball 1 low. So we'll see here how this affects Carmichaels going forward. Already on their third pitchers. That may be why we saw Yazani get the yank so early. Maybe they want Dom Yazani to pitch tomorrow. Ground ball to the left side. Base hit as it gets under the glove of Davis. And it's going to be first and second and 1 out here as Chaz Rush knocks his second base hit of the game. But will it cost Carmichaels trying to keep their pitchers fresh? Could Avella potentially battle back into this one? They definitely don't want to go down without a fight. They do trail by 6. But Chaz Rush doing his best to keep this game rolling for the Eagles.
Yeah, Avella there, nice piece of hitting just on an unfortunate misplay in by the Carmichaels defense over on the left side of the field by Davis. That one got underneath his glove.
First pitch to Tristan Davis. This is going to be in there for a strike. Second one's going to be ground down the third base line, sneaks just foul. Count goes to 0-2 here with 1 out in the 7th. Carmichaels leads 7-1 after they exploded for 4 runs in that 5th inning to break the 1-1 score. Davis behind 0-2 now. Ryder Krieg on the mound, his second batter he's facing. Grounded. Left side, through for a base hit. And it gets past the left fielder. Olam's going to come around and score. Rush is right behind him. Tristan Davis heads into second. It's 7-3. A host of misplays by Carmichaels as that ball got past Richards and left, allowing 2 runs to score, and the Eagles trail by 4 now. It's 7-3.
The unfortunate part is for Tristan Davis is he's only going to get the 1 RBI because of the error. But on the other part of it, for Avella, you got to be happy that's the result you're going to get. You're still able to get 2 runs to come across. So now the deficit shoots from 6 to just 4 and becomes a little bit of a more manageable ball game, and that changes the game plans on both sides as well.
So Avella able to battle back into this one, 7-3. 3 straight hits for the Eagles. First pitch is going to be chopped foul by Jordan Moore. Moore 0 for 3 today. A fly out to the center fielder, pop out to the pitcher, and a line out to the shortstop, who was Krieg at the time. Tristan Davis stands on second. No balls, 1 strikes. He's going to line it to the shortstop. Fields it on 1 hop to throw over to first in time as Ray gets it over to LaPena. And Avella's down to their last out. Tristan Davis moves up to third on the play. So now 2 outs in the 7th. And Carmichael's still in the driver's seat, up 4.
Really good play there in by Ray to make the grab off the 1 hop. We've seen that area kind of catch a few fielders off guard. Works with the bounce, and he's able to get the quick out.
Luka Davis going to foul off the first pitch. His brother Tristan on third trying to drive him home. Ryder Krieg allowed 2 straight base hits after Yazani allowed 1, so an important out number 2 there. That pitch in there for a strike 2. Now the count moves to 0-2. 2 outs here in the 7th. Carmichaels leads 7-3. 0-2. Inside, almost hit Davis. He ducks out of the way. Count moves to 1-2. If you're Carmichaels, you got to shut this down now. The 8 batters up, then the 9 batter, and then you're at the top of the order. Krieg, 1-2. Swung and missed. He struck him out. Ryder Krieg strikes out the last batter of the game, Luca Davis. Avella adds 2 runs in the inning, but a little too late for the Eagles, as Carmichaels will come out on top of this one 7-3 over the Avella Eagles.
Yeah, really good work. Craig comes in, and you saw it with Zani, too, a little bit of struggle when they first came in to start their bit of relief work after the masterful work by Marzani. But again, really good job for Carmichaels to be able to rebound. You get the first run. At worst, it only becomes tied at 1, and then your offense is able to back you up in the last 2 innings, scoring 6 of their 7 runs. So a very important win for Carmichaels to push open and get that 25th consecutive playoff appearance alive.
And for Avella, they're going to fall down to 7-4 in the conference. For Carmichaels, they're up to 5-4. And it was really that 5th inning that Carmichaels jumped out in front, too little too late out of the Eagles. And that was the end of this 7-3 ball game. So that's going to do it for myself, Chase Maseko, alongside Ethan Spazarski here on Senior Day 2026. Thank you for watching this initial broadcast, the first of its kind here in Avella, Pennsylvania, for a baseball game. Your final from the Polar Star Field. It's 7 for Carmichaels, 3 for Avella. Good night, Avella.